passo do compasso pra te acompanhar. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu.
Okay. All right, great. We are back in the Roman Anton Podcast studio in Bangkok, Thailand. And today we're going to have a Portuguese lesson, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And the first lesson...
The Brazilian Portuguese.
Oh, so that's...
Which is very different than the Portuguese from Portugal.
F-A-B tilde over the next letter A-O. Fabão.
Fabão.
Damn, Fabão.
Yeah.
I got around the mouth.
Yeah.
There, nothing truer has been said. Fabão Funker. Funker?
Yeah, Funker is not my last name.
Okay.
But my band in Beijing was called Mama Funker.
Mama Funker.
Was a funk band.
Nice.
So I adopted the last name of my band as my stage last name.
I got no problems with that.
But my last name is Oliveira.
Oliveira.
From the olive tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Oliveira.
Veira.
Veira. Jeez, I'm not getting any slack in the vowels today here. All right. And so you changed your name in China, so we'll have to get to that. Or the name took a new importance in China with the addition of Funker.
It's just because if I try to use my Portuguese last names, it was impossible for people to pronounce.
Yeah.
So people in China, they usually just call me Fabao.
Fabao.
Yeah. In the Chinese accent, because there is a word in Chinese for my name. So it's Fabao means the magic weapon.
The magic weapon.
Yeah. So once I found out that Fabao means the magic weapon, I said, okay, I don't need a last name. I don't need a last name here.
You walk down the street.
This is cool.
There's the magic weapon.
Exactly.
I'm making T-shirts and bracelets at that point. This is an unlimited marketing opportunity. And then the Funker, too. It's like, geez. All right, the magic weapon. Well, good. Well, welcome to the show, Mr. Magic Weapon. It's good to have you here. We met recently. I've seen you play before, but we met, and I saw you play this week or last week now. And it was excellent sound and full of surprises for your first-time listener, because you do a lot.
Yeah.
And so
Too much,
we sat down and talked over margaritas, and you said you'd come on in. So here we are. Yeah. I appreciate that you're making time for this. I know you're.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. Really pleasure.
Well, good. So we've covered some ground already. So you're Brazilian by birth?
Yes. Born and raised in São Paulo. My mother born in São Paulo, but her parents are from Northeast Brazil, a beautiful province called Pernambuco.
Pernambuco.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my father, born in the Northeast, his family is all from there, in another province called Sergipe.
Are they big provinces with big cities, or are they?
In the coast, by the coast, the cities are very famous for the beautiful beaches, but my families are from the countryside, from the sertão, from the very dry areas where people pray for rain and that kind of.
Dry like desert dry, or dry like...
it rains sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't rain for a year.
Huh.
But sometimes you have a normal raining season, but not every year.
Oh, okay. And so what is the thing for that region? Is it not agriculture? It's something else, mining?
No. This is the kind of province that they live basically on the tourism for the coast. And the rest of the province doesn't have much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it desert, or is it just dry?
It's dry. You know, when the soil cracks,
Yeah.
and you see those patterns that look very beautiful in pictures.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wow. So did you grow up in that environment at all? So you
I
were all
never
São
been
Paulo.
there actually.
Okay.
I never been to my parents'
Homeland.
homelands. I never been there. I've been to Northeast, to other places, but never been to where my families come from.
And so would I don't know a lot about Brazil. I mean, I get what I get through the press, so I know about the success of the sporting teams, and then I know about sort of the beaches and stuff like that. But is did you call them provinces where your parents are from, or province or country or
we call state.
State. Okay.
Yeah.
Are those states very populous? Are there a lot of people in them?
I would say that every capital in Brazil is very, very populated. But in the countryside is when you have cities still with 2,000 people.
Right.
So we still have very small cities where everybody know each other, you know.
So do you think those cracked ground cities have people in them somewhere?
No, they do, because
Wow.
what they try is to get the water from they dig like 50 meters deep, and they try to get the water from the soil. You know? And people live there because when you don't know any other possibilities, and when you have that land, that's all you have. You don't have any money. All you have is that piece of land, those 2,000 square meters that you hope is gonna rain and you can plant something.
Yeah, and you hold on.
Yeah. So you hold on to that because you don't know what you can do outside of that environment, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so if I sit here and tell you what I think reaches me in America on this, I think of sort of a jungly area or a densely packed forest area where folks have land where they are sort of just removed from society. But I had never thought there was also like this deserty or this dry area where people are praying for rain and other side of the mountain stuff, right?
Yeah, in Brazil, there are many parts of the countryside provinces that people live in the same kind of situation.
And so you haven't been back, but the coastline, have you been back to the coastline up there or just never up that way?
Well, I didn't travel much to the north and northeast of Brazil. Usually I travel more to the southeast and the center. My family like more the weather in that area. So Christmas, New Year, sometimes the whole family was traveling to some farm hotel and not as far as northeast because everybody wants to go by car.
So the north is still closer to the equator, right?
Yes.
So
the north of Brazil is the hottest part of Brazil.
Right.
It's really when you get close to 50 degrees.
Right.
Man, it's really hot and super humid in the coast, you know.
And so the coast up that way, are there cities I would know by name, or are they all sort of waiting to be discovered surf towns that are still awesome?
No, everything is already named, and cities
out.
have their anniversaries and big parties with live music.
Yeah. And so São Paulo is on the water?
No, São Paulo is on the mountain.
On the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
São Paulo is, let's say, 1.5 hour drive to the closest beach.
Oh, okay.
And it's very high. São Paulo is where, when Brazil was a big thing about coffee, São Paulo, because of the mountains like this, so they were planting the coffee trees, and the houses of the farmers were in the top of the mountain.
Yikes.
The top of the mountain in São Paulo, the biggest one, which is called now Avenida Paulista, the Paulista Avenue. This is where my parents live now. And that was a street that just had big houses of coffee farmers.
Oh, nice.
And in the sides, that was all coffee plantation. I'm talking about hundreds of years ago.
And now it's all
now it's all buildings.
Okay.
Now it's all buildings.
Where'd the coffee go? Somewhere else?
Countryside. Just very deep in the countryside. But São Paulo, when the Portuguese first arrived and developing, São Paulo was the center of coffee in the whole South America.
Huh. And when you grew up there, was it a modern city?
Oh yeah, no. São
yeah.
Paulo is the third biggest city in the world
Yeah.
about territory, not population. Because if you take population, India and
Right.
China, they take the 21st places easy. Right?
Right. A friend of mine moved there when I was in grade school with his dad for a job, and it just seemed like he went to the end of the world for me from
No, man,
Milwaukee.
São
right?
Paulo is wild. São Paulo is
Yeah.
like New York.
Yeah.
São Paulo is like New York.
That's what he said to me, and I always remember him saying that. I was like, "What? How can that be?"
No,
But-
São Paulo, you have everything that you have in New York City,
yeah.
except for I think Broadway is in New York, probably.
There you go. Maybe I forget.
We
Haven't been there.
we don't have the Broadway, but we have the theaters and
Yeah.
museums and the tall buildings and everything.
So, is there political association with that town? Is it conservative? Is it liberal? Is it farmer? Is it industrial? Is it?
It's São Paulo is what we call it's the center of the engine of Brazil. São Paulo province is the richest province, the one that produces the most in the country, and São Paulo is the richest city in the richest province.
Okay.
Just São Paulo province and São Paulo capital, same name, as in Rio, Rio city, Rio province, as
Yeah.
Bangkok is a province and a city.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I guess if we did this game, would we be able to map out that logic around the world? Paris, assumedly the richest, right? Biggest. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah. Okay. So São Paulo's the place. And so I did all of that to say that's where you grew up.
Yeah.
And you
And
grew
so-
up on a mountaintop, apparently.
No. Actually, I my family moved to this apartment where they live now.
Okay.
Let's say about 20 years ago.
When you were born.
I was born in São Paulo, but I was living in a city neighbor to São Paulo when I was a kid. Same as here in Bangkok, Nonthaburi, let's say, or
Right,
Samut
right.
Prakan.
Right. Outside.
Just there,
Yeah.
driving. So it was a place that for kids to grow up was better. A lot of grass, place to play. And then when I grew up, my family, we went back to São Paulo because everybody was working in São Paulo, and driving 30 kilometers
Yeah.
every day to go to work didn't make a lot of sense.
How many kids in the family?
Me and a brother,
Okay.
yeah,
Younger, older?
younger, 3.5 years.
Okay. So your parents moved for schooling or for safety or for...
No,
to get-
just for the work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we moved to São Paulo because we all were working in São Paulo, but living 30 kilometers
Yeah.
from work. So we decided it's going to be easier if we all move closer to the places that we have to go every day.
Yeah.
At that time, I was teaching music in 2 music schools in São Paulo, and moving to that apartment was, instead of 30, was 4 kilometers.
Yeah,
to
nice.
work, so it's better.
And so let's back up a little bit. When you were a kid, kindergarten, that's the start of school for me, or maybe nursery school is the start. I'm not sure if you use that language. You were out in this country area. Private schools, public schools?
Private school, very small, run by a guy who was a dreamer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he bought this. It was a farm before, so he turned that farm into a school, and was a big piece of land with a big garden for the kids, like playground, and when I started there, I was in the preschool, the last year of preschool, and the school every year open a new class. So from preschool, I go to the first grade, and that was the last one that time. And then I go to the second grade, was the last. So I open every year until the last grade of...
So you're like the first student in every class with a new teacher,
Yes.
or the same teacher but teaching first grade or second grade? Or
No,
third?
first and second grade, the same teacher. Then the third grade, a different one. Fourth grade, different one. And the fifth grade, we had the teachers dedicated for each subject.
That's cool.
So I had, 6, 7 teachers.
And so is this, I mean, if the school is in a music shop, you would assume they would teach you music. If the school is on a farm or a garden, I assume, was it agrarian bent or was it?
No, we were not learning anything about planting or taking care of animals because they were not there anymore.
Yeah.
There were no animals around. Sometimes a frog you could see, but not much, no more than that. And the nice thing about this school is because the owner knew all the parents.
Yeah.
He was always around.
Right. That's
He
cool.
always want to have this close relationship and offer the best for the kids. But that was in the neighborhood, and the school in the beginning, let's say they had 40 students.
40
50 students for the 3 preschool levels.
Right. So
It
15
was
in each.
very, very small, but the guy dreaming of turning that into a university, which never happened, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was his dream.
And so 15 to 20 students per class all the way up through 8th grade? Or
Well,
close?
there was a time that I had 9 students in the class when I
Nice.
was in 3rd grade, for example. I remember there were 9 students.
Can
in
you
the
remember
class.
their names right now?
I have a few that I still keep in touch, but most of them I forgot. My memory is pretty bad now, man.
You have photos of that time period?
Probably for every year. My mom probably still have the end of the year take the picture of the whole class with the teacher.
9 people, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's still in my house in Brazil, yeah.
So let's just say, what is that? 5 years old when you start? 6?
5,
4, yeah.
6 the preschool, I believe, because I think I was 7 when I started the 1st grade.
So do you have instruments in your hand yet? 6th grade, 7th, or 6-year-old?
No. My father is a songwriter, so always had a classical guitar in the house. But I started to play, I think I was around 9, 10, or 10 to 11.
In the school or at home?
No, at home. At school, never had music classes. But I was bringing the guitar to school. I like to play with my...
Your dad's classical guitar you're bringing to school.
Yeah, we just had one that time.
Yeah, that's a tall order to carry a classical guitar on because it's a little more solemn or holy, right? It's like, you know what I mean? Like a drum or even an electric has a different, like you sling it over your back. Right?
Yeah, but my school, we had something that was really nice. Once a week, get all the students in the patio to sing the national anthem.
Wow.
The ending of the flag and the ending of the province. So we sing all of those, and then each class had to present something in front of everyone. And my class was always singing because I could play the guitar. So we always present a
song.
Music number.
Yeah, right.
And the other classes, sometimes they were doing a theater sketch or
Juggling.
no juggling, but a poem or something, or reading a test.
Something cultural. Okay, I get it.
It always had to be something artistic.
Yeah.
But my class, because I could play the guitar, we were always singing, and that everybody in my class loved music. So
cool. In the first performance or second or third performance year, just basic chord structures, or were you already off to the races and like?
Oh no,
that's not how Ipanema goes.
No, the beginning I was playing very simple songs.
Okay.
I mean, very, very simple songs, 4 or 5 chord song. That was the maximum that I could do.
National anthems generally are tricky.
No, I wasn't playing the national anthem, but the whole school was singing together.
You're doing the chords now?
No, I didn't have to play. But the whole school sings
cool.
together was really nice.
And so at this point, is Dad a guitar songwriter, singer, and he's playing out, or is he just building his own repertoire for himself?
Well, my father, he is self-taught and he doesn't play music from other people. He just knows how to play his songs. And he has an incredible memory.
Yeah.
He can remember all his songs.
Do you know any of his songs?
Oh, many.
And do you play any of them when you play out?
I play, yes.
Did I perhaps see one the other night and I didn't know?
I think that night that you came, I played in the first set. You came in the second. If I remember well, I played one of his songs in the first set. And last time that the last week I was playing at the Lanes, and I played 2 songs of my father as well.
Okay.
So I play quite often. I like his songs very much.
Huh. And so are those the first airtime they get when you do them? Or has he recorded them now since then?
No, he did a recording a long time ago when I was
you
teenager.
told me. There was a...
And he had a friend, a great musician called Hélio Brás, a guitar player. And this guy had many good musicians connections. So he called these musicians to record my father's song.
Nice.
And really top musicians. The demo came out very nice. But my father never wanted to release that. No, this is for me. I want to listen and show my friends, but I don't want this to be an album selling or anything.
So is there a version of that out there?
No, he doesn't want to put it on Spotify or anything.
So it does exist.
No.
Somewhere. It's in the safe?
No, it's in the house.
You put it in a coconut and hid it under
No,
the
because
tree?
that time was still the cassettes.
All right.
And then when I started my home studio, I converted the audio to digital. And I burned CDs for him.
Aha.
So that is in digital.
And you didn't keep a copy?
I probably might have that in some... Right. Yeah, I might have that in my house.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where the treachery starts. The son has the CD, moves to Bangkok. There's...
But I think I might have in my house here. Yeah.
And so did you sit and listen to him, or how did the transformation take place? Because at some point, if we keep talking from 8 years old to 9 to today, there's going to be a massive...
It's going to be a week.
Yeah, there's going to be a... So when did you start to... Did you work with him at all, or did he just sort of keep an eye on you musically?
Man, my father came to Beijing to visit me, and we did concerts together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did many gigs together. Every time he came, we did gigs together.
Of his stuff?
Yes.
Nice.
Singing just his music, and me singing with him, me playing guitar. Sometimes we had a saxophone player and a violin player playing with us. And he was super touched because I never had a violin playing my music.
No one has a violin playing anyone's music.
Super happy. He's super happy. Thanks, Sophia, for playing. And
Sophia.
Yeah.
Shout out.
My father always very grateful for her for playing with us.
Okay, cool. And I'm sorry here if I didn't understand. He's still alive, or is he?
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
good.
my parents are still alive, still together, living in São Paulo, working like hell because in Brazil,
right,
you work.
The
you
dollar
work and
doesn't
you work.
go as far as it used to. Okay. So we're in the small class, and then for me in my life, 8th grade is sort of a pivot point where you go from one school to the next. Other people in my neighborhoods, maybe it was 7th or maybe it was 9th grade, but around then you switch schools. It may be within the same structure, but then you're into middle school or something like that. Same for you guys?
I studied from last year of preschool to 8th grade in the same school, and then I went to high school. In high school I changed quite a lot.
Same town?
No. Then it was all in São Paulo.
Okay, so you're back. Some point at near then you went back to a bigger environment.
Yeah, because I did the first year of high school. I was doing the how to say that in English is when you are trying to doing something in the high school that is connected to what you're gonna do in the vocational, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Yeah, so you could do mechanics, or you could.
And I hated. I was doing contability, man. I said, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Like,
I hate numbers. And then after that year, I said, okay, I will do the normal high school with no vocation, no subject, and then I will do university. But I did I went to the test for the university for music, and when I saw what the teachers have become, I said, I don't want to be like these guys. So this is not for me. So I ended not doing any university. I was just studying music with all the teachers that I admire and just playing music.
I see. So in your mind, the school you were going to go to get taught was going to be, okay, now everyone count with me. We're going to learn how to count. And you're like, oh, that seems too structured?
No, because what they were aiming in the school, because I was trying to be a conductor. I wanted to be a conductor. So I went to the university to be a composer and conductor.
Of classical music or of a new...
That was they teach classical music as well, but it had
band.
The focus was into, let's say, experimental modern music. So a lot of the stuff was made in the computer with a MIDI controller.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, this is not what I want to do. You know?
No. But nonetheless, pretty cool, right?
But I think it was just not for me. But a lot of people were dreaming to get that spot, you know.
Yeah.
And it was 20 students per year and 80 people claiming to get in. And I did after the third year the let's say vocational skills, and they test if you're good at music to get to the university. After the third day, I came back home. My parents asked, "How was it?" I said, "I don't want to do it. Seriously, that's not for me."
I think I need to sit and think about this because I'm sitting in this chair, which I haven't been sitting in that long, but I've heard a couple of stories. It would be cliche for me to say I hear these pivotal events where someone says, I'm not going to do that. Like I was wrong. Oops, sorry. It's not like lightning strikes, and sometimes it might be, but this sounds pretty profound, right? Because you're 15, 14, 16, somewhere in that bracket at 17?
University, I think, was 17 to 18.
Right, so you're old, but not necessarily super experienced. But you saw a train coming you didn't want to get in front of, right?
Well, because I knew what I want to do with music. And I knew that was not what I want to do with music.
So let's back up a little bit. So 13, you're starting to play. 14, you're starting to play. Or 8, 9, 10, you're starting to play.
Let's say 10, I started to play a few chords on the classical guitar, and that was for a while. Yeah. And then I had a teacher, Amaury Falabella, which was in the same neighborhood, who taught me a couple songs and rhythm and blah, blah, blah. But when I saw Guns N' Roses playing, they were playing, right? They were playing at the Rock in Rio in 1992, I think.
Geez. Like 600,000 people, right?
Yeah, I was in São Paulo watching live streaming on TV from Rio.
Awesome.
So when I saw Slash playing, I said, that is what I want to do.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm reaching for something because I think I printed something on you today.
And then I went to, my father found me a electric guitar teacher, Marcos Lira, his name. Became a great friend of mine. We played together. And
Marcos Lira.
Yeah.
Amaury Falabella. So you're giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amaury Falabella was my very first music teacher.
Yeah, I thought I heard that.
Classical guitar.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
Marcos Lira was my electric guitar teacher. Then Marcos Davi was the guy who taught me
Acoustic?
classical, but more into the harmony understanding. And that was really the mind-blowing part of the learning music. The harmony is so fascinating. And
Guitar harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harmony for music, but how to harmonize.
Right.
And inversion of chords, stuff
Right.
that for me was, I was playing electric guitar, was rock, man. It's power chords and solos.
Yeah.
So when I started to get more interested in bossa nova, in samba, in Brazilian music, that guy is the one that made me understand that universe, because I was not familiar with that universe. And after that, I did classes with the #1 electric guitar player in Brazil, a genius called Edu Ardanui.
Edu Ardanui.
Yeah.
Would that have that little tilde on it?
No.
Okay.
It's just weird, though. Yeah, Edu Ardanui, he was the guitar player for a very successful band called Dr. Sin. And now he has a new band. I think it's called Sinistra.
There you go. Okay.
I follow him for his new projects, and the guy is the beast on the guitar, man. The guy's the beast. Guitar player, Brazil, 3 years in a row, best guitar player in the country. The guy's the beast. And I'm studying online with the guy who was his teacher. I'm doing a course online with Mozart Mello, which is the #1 guitar teacher in the country.
You didn't give him props here on this list.
No, but that one I just started. I just started.
So I saw the Andre Nascimento.
Andre Nascimento was percussion teacher. Yeah.
Relation to the other Nascimento?
No, Milton Nascimento.
All right, so just a popular name.
Different parts of Brazil, yeah.
Yeah.
But Andre Nascimento was, I was teaching vocal technique in a school, teaching for actors, vocal technique for theater. And the owner of the school asked me to find someone to teach percussion because there were some people asking for percussion lessons in the school.
So where's the school now?
It's still there.
In São Paulo?
São Paulo, in a neighborhood called Vila Madalena,
And
which is a very artistic neighborhood.
Do you have the name of the school?
Recriarte.
Recriarte.
Yeah. To recreate the art.
Okay.
Yeah, Recriarte, I was there for about 5 years teaching, I think.
Okay.
4 to 5 years.
So still there, still going? Good teachers?
Yeah, they are probably the best acting school in the city. And they are super, super respected in the field, you know.
Which means the best in the country, which means the best in the region, which means
Well,
serious people.
in São Paulo, you have the best theater in the country.
Right.
And I think that being the best acting school,
Yeah.
not university, because in the university you probably could get better than that, but about a private school,
Yeah.
that's probably two schools that are in the same range there. One is called Macunaíma and the other is called Recriarte.
Yeah.
These two, they are probably in the same level.
Well, I don't raise it to say you went to Harvard or Yale. I raise it to ask and to satisfy my own curiosity. Is earlier when we started this narrative, you're in a place with 9 people in 3rd grade. Okay?
Yeah.
And it could have been awesome, right? And you could have paid $1 million a year to get, Bill Gates' kid next year or something, and you're all geniuses. But you go back to the city, admittedly, to get closer to the gig for the family and stuff. And as you get older, and then you move into vocational school and you're counting beans and you're like, that's a mistake. And so you jump the rails and find another place, and then you find this school. So, oh, wow, this is university, or this is a university style teaching with professionals that you're naming here who claim to be the best in the country. So you get sophisticated pretty quickly here all of a sudden with your surroundings. And I don't mean your youthful schools were unsophisticated. I'm just saying you move rapidly into the A space of performers and teachers, which is...
I think I had good people around me, luckily.
Your dad?
To guide me. Even my vocal teacher, her name was Nicole Borges, classical education, opera singer.
Right, yeah, you skipped the vocal one. So you had Nicole Borges, vocal technique, Cecilia Valentin.
Cecilia Valentin was in the Baroque technique, which was very, very interesting as well.
Ah.
And then Sonia Prazeres was the vocal
Sonia Prazeres,
therapy,
the
which is the most mind-blowing teacher I ever had in my life. That was incredible.
Well, let's go through this. So always hard to put together a CV or a resume because it's, well, I didn't actually learn that then, but it has to have a number next to it because you're supposed to go sequentially, and it doesn't mean I learned vocals later than I learned guitar. But here it looks like you probably had a hard run at vocals in a 5-year time period where you had a lot of training.
Yeah, I was studying vocals first because I was getting headaches when I was singing because I was forcing too much my throat. So I was squeezing my throat to get to the high notes.
But you got headaches.
And then the oxygen was not going anywhere, you know.
You get that, Frank? Oxygen deprived headaches? Maybe, all right.
Yeah. And then
I'm not laughing, but it's such a specific description you're giving me. It sounds funny
because I was singing rock. And when you sing in rock, you put a lot of energy. And if you're doing something wrong, you can really damage your vocal cords. So my mom was working in São Paulo. I was still living in the neighbor city called Guarulhos. Yeah. And then my mom, in the same street that she was working, there was a music school. She went there, she talked with the teacher, she explained, she said, okay, tell him to come here to make one class for free, to meet the teacher and to explain to him what he can do.
Was that Nicole first?
Yeah, Nicole. Yeah. And I went there, she explained to me, I said, okay, I want to do it. So in a month, she made me understand everything that I was doing wrong, and then I was practicing every day, and I got better very, very fast, very fast.
Was it because of youth you got better, because of hours you got better, because
I think
of dedication?
It's because of dedication.
Yeah, dedication.
Yeah, but I teach music here as well, and I always tell my students, I teach, but I don't make miracles. If you don't practice, you're going to stay where you are for the rest of your life.
Same old story, right?
Yeah. It doesn't matter how good your teacher can play, whatever the material he can give to you. If you don't practice, nothing's going to change. Yeah. And I was practicing every day because I really want to get better.
Where were you doing that? At home? In the bathroom? Out on the street?
No, in my bedroom I was practicing because I didn't have a piano or a keyboard in the house. So she was doing all the exercises like da 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 da. I was doing that on the guitar and singing those notes, going half step up, and then back down. So I was practicing playing the guitar in my bedroom.
Yeah,
and my parents working. And
okay, so no antagonism from the house with
no problem at all. Okay. My neighbors as well, they were super cool with me.
My Fenrai.
I was not a drummer, so
right. Okay, right. They were happy you were singing.
Yeah, I think drummers have the best neighbors in the world.
So I feel like I missed this sequence, and you threw it out. So you see Guns N' Roses. All right.
Yeah, I saw Guns N' Roses.
And are you already in a rock band?
No, not even playing rock at all. I was just really playing the acoustic guitar and the classical guitar. And then I saw that. I said, dude, this is what I want to do. And my father, okay. So first, find a guitar.
Yeah.
So he got me a guitar called Dixon. It was terrible.
Yeah. Wow.
But at least 6
That one
strings.
was.
6 strings.
If Dixon's still out there, we love you, Dixon. But that guitar needed some work.
Yeah, it was a very ugly red. And
so you didn't like the color, is why it was bad.
I didn't like anything, but it was a guitar that I could plug in an amplifier. So I said, I will make this work.
All right.
I got my first teacher for electric guitar, the Marcus Lira. And then the first class, the guy take his Gibson Flying V. And he plays the theme that Stevie Vai plays at the Crossroads movie.
Yeah.
At the duello, the duel that they do on the guitar.
Yeah.
He played that. I said, what do I have to do to play like this? He said, practice 8 hours a day. I said, deal.
You were at the Crossroads.
Yeah, I was studying in the morning. I was still in secondary school. Studying in the morning, coming back home, doing homework, and playing guitar until my parents get back from work. So I was playing 6 to 8 hours a day, scales up and down, because I really, whatever my teachers say, this is going to make you play better, I was doing it.
Can you still do it?
Yes, but let's say that my focus on playing guitar changed from being a very fast player to be a very melodic player. So I still can play fast, but this is not what I'm trying to do on my solos anymore when I play electric guitar.
I just wonder, like, when I play a kid in golf who, was the 10-year-old champion at the club, I get out on the golf course, I'm sort of worried, even if he hasn't been playing much, because sometimes this stuff sticks. And I was just wondering if your jam, if it's stuck, if that early work stays, and if you can rip off that Crossroads lick from Steve Vai on demand.
I still remember the whole thing, but I haven't played that tune in, let's say, years.
Right.
But if I practice for an afternoon,
you gotta
I can get everything under the fingers again.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? That sort of capability and memory, just sort of that recall.
Yeah, because I don't read music, so I remember everything.
Yeah, between the two of you, I'm going to throw you out the window, because we try to transcribe our songs, and I sit here. But Shogo, our drummer, went to school in Japan, so we do that. But I understand the sort of the practicality of not reading.
When you don't read, you remember stuff in a different way, because it takes so much work to learn a piece that when you learn, you never forget.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, there you go. So you and Frank can go out and talk about all the songs you forgot together. I forgot that one in 95. No, I forgot that in 98. Okay, so interesting. So you vocational, the accounting degree that you were going to get went away. You saw the music. You did the music. Your voice training was early. Acoustic guitars going. You see the Flying V close range, and you're like, I'm a rock and roller.
That's the first time that I saw a good guitar in my life from close, that I could touch. That he said, do you want to try? And I could play in a good guitar, a good neck. You say, wow, man, this is so easy to play. Because the guitar that I had the action was super high.
Right.
Rusty strings.
Right.
Intonation completely wrong.
Yeah, it's like jogging
when you
down
take a guitar
mountain.
that's perfect. You play, you bend, the strings are so close to the frets. You say, wow, this is so good to play, man.
That's funny. So, I remember the first time I sat in front of Tony Coelho sitting down and jamming on a guitar in front of me on his Gibson. And I was like, what was that? And it wasn't necessarily a speed thing, because I think at that point, for some reason, one of the first songs he put in my hands was a Cheap Trick song. So not necessarily the Rick Nielsen lead section, but just the chords. And so there were low expectations at the start, but he played, and then I went to see him play at Tony Guido's restaurant. I think it was actually called Guido's Restaurant. And I saw him let loose on a jazz stand, and I was like, oh, what the hell was that? It was close, and I just remember sort of the Force, Star Wars, the Force was with me, or, it happened, right? It's sort of mesmerizing. So you meet these guys. So you're meeting pros, and mom is helping you find teachers, which sounds awfully cool of mom.
No, my
Thank you,
father
Mom.
helping me to find teachers, and
But she brought you to the vocal place, you said.
yeah, she got me to the
free
vocal
one, yeah.
vocal school, to the vocal teacher.
And so
And-
what is the attitude of your parents? I'm sorry. Then we'll get back to
Hmm.
I want a guitar. I want vocal lessons. I want to, blah, blah, blah. I want to learn to play the saxophone. So is it, okay, honey, we're going to get, we're not going to go on vacation this year. We're going to buy him another guitar. Was it sort of life or death decisions you were making for the family with these choices? Or and I'm sorry if that sounded insulting, because I know it's not a cool thing.
That is a cool story about my first Gibson, actually.
That's what I'm going to say, because this is where it's going, right?
Yeah, because when I saw Slash, I said, I want to do that, and I want to have that guitar.
Black.
No, I want to have the Sunburst Coffee
Sunburst, okay.
Les Paul Gibson. I said, that's the guitar I want. So I was a terrible student at school. I was the biggest disappointment a mother could have. Boom.
Scholastic disappointment.
I reached it. So my mom said, I want that guitar. My mom said, okay, if this year you finish the year with very good grades, I buy that guitar for you. I said, you got yourself a deal.
Did she know what she just committed to?
She had no idea what a Gibson can cost, man. So
Sorry, Ma.
end of the year, good grades. Boom. I said,
let's go.
and now
Yeah.
she said, okay, we'll go with your father to the music shop and check the guitar. I said, okay. I went to the street called Santa Efigênia in São Paulo, the music street. Santa means saint.
Right.
There is a church with that name in São Paulo.
What
Beautiful
does
church.
Santa Genia mean? What is,
Efigênia was the name of the saint. It was
Okay.
a female
wow,
saint.
that's a name, huh?
Yeah.
Iphigenia.
Efigênia.
Iphigenia, come here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to that street with my father. We walk into the shop. There were some Fenders, Strat, Telecasters, and the Gibson there.
American made, Mexican
All American made,
Oh.
price tags in US dollar.
Ouch.
Because the Brazilian currency was still, the inflation was quite huge. So
Right.
the prices for imported instruments were all in US. So I see the guitar, I freeze. Just by seeing the guitar, I freeze. And then I go to the price tag when I see $5,000. I said, this is not going to happen this time.
Yeah.
So we go back home. I go to my bedroom.
Empty-handed?
Empty-handed, of course.
Would not, you didn't say, I'll take the
No,
Honer.
I didn't even.
I'll take the Ibanez
I
over
didn't
there.
even argue with
I'll
my
take
mom.
the
I said,
used.
this is a kind of money that we can not even dream to spend in one guitar.
All right.
No way.
I'm with you. Credit?
But I said, one day I will have it. So in Beijing, skipping a couple of years just to keep to the Gibson link, I was living in Beijing. My saxophone player, Adam Kielman, called me and said, hey, Fabão, there is a gig in Hainan, 8 days. And that week I had sold, I found the guitar in a shop, was 1,100 US, secondhand Gibson, Sunburst Coffee. I said, this is too good to be true. But I was changing jobs, changing apartments. I had to expend a lot of money. So I didn't have that money in cash. So I told the guy, I will be back for this guitar. Don't know how, but this is the guitar that I've been dreaming for years. So you can't sell to anyone else. These guitars belong to me. So I went back home and I spoke with the universe. I said, make it happen, man. Make it happen. I want that guitar. 2 days later, my saxophone called me and said, hey, there is a gig in the island. Do you want to go? It's 8 days playing a golf club and they paid this much. So the guitar was 7,500 RMB and the gig was paying 8,800. I said, I'm going. So I close the phone. I look up and I say, thanks, man. I went to the shop. I gave 500 RMB as a deposit. And I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks and I will take this guitar. The guy said, okay. I went to the golf club. I played. I came back to Beijing. First day, went to the shop.
They paid you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They paid right after the gig.
Thanks to Santa Ifanasayan.
So I came to the shop in Beijing in a street called Kulou Dajie.
Wow.
And
is that the Guitar Street? Where you bought it?
Is the music street in Beijing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a crazy street, right?
Kulou Dajie.
300 shops, 200 shops.
And Well, if you count with the ones in the little hutons, yeah, maybe about 200 shops around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I told Frank when I went there to see that.
Yeah.
I got yelled at for something, I forget what, but it felt like they were appropriately yelling at me. But there's some really nice wooden guitars in there that were.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of.
That's the place that every musician was going to buy parts and to get new instruments. Was in that area in Beijing. Very cool there. Very cool.
So you get the grades. So there it was.
But I didn't get the guitar. But years later, I get the guitar. Then I call my parents on Skype and I say,
"This is it."
Do you remember that story about that Gibson, the guitar that I always wanted? My mom said, "Yeah, the Gibson, right?" I said, "I got it." I showing the video to them, and she said, "Oh my God, you found it! You found it! You bought it!"
Did you say I got it in a friendly fashion, or were you accusatory?
No, in a happy.
Okay,
in a happy way.
You seem like a happy, healthy guy.
A dream became true here.
Good.
You know,
because I could see a world or a universe, a dark one, where the sun says, "I got it."
No. My relationship with my parents, we are super friends.
Good. Well, that's cool. So that's a good end to
good.
that story.
Yeah.
But did you get a guitar to fill in for all that other time period? Slightly after you got those good grades?
Man, I have more than 40 guitars now.
That was a long time ago we're talking here.
Yeah,
but
when I got my Gibson, I already had about 7 guitars, I think. But the Gibson is achieving something that I was dreaming for so many years. So it's a very special guitar for me.
So earlier you said this, and I think it was somewhere around the Sonia stage, where local terms of music, you were starting to explore domestic, locally, you were starting to explore a more Brazilian style of music, as I understood what the event in your head was, is you were not going to be turning the radio on to hear Guns N' Roses, you were going to be developing some other skill sets.
No, it's when I started to understand better and appreciate better the Brazilian music. Because in the beginning I was even playing Brazilian music, but I was playing Brazilian rock.
Or pop or whatever.
Yeah. But once I started to listen bossa nova and samba and the MPB, which is music popular Brazilian or Brazilian popular music, but we write MPBs, música popular brasileira, which many artists that are not exactly doing samba or bossa nova, but they are doing a mix of, for example, reggae and samba.
Right.
This is not a category that you can say, oh, this guy is this, so MPB.
MPB.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when I started to listen to these guys, harmony was so amazing. And then I said, wow, I really want to play this better. I want to learn to play this. That's when Marcos Davi came to my life.
2001, so the next year. Okay, so you got, so that's 19, 18? Well, I don't want to date you backwards here, so if you don't want to say that. So about that same time period.
Which year was that? 2001?
Yeah.
So I was 24, 23,
okay,
24.
So you're through a lot of your training at that point, and you are making a decision to go MPB or even bossa nova directly.
Yeah, I wanted to because I was playing the electric guitar for so many years, and in the Brazilian music, the MPB, the classical guitar is the key, right? Yeah. And my technique for right hand and my understanding for the harmonies for the left were very poor to play that kind of music. So when I started to play with Marcos Davi, and he taught me some instrumental tunes on the guitar, man, that...
You remember them?
Yeah.
What for example?
There is an arrangement by Baden Powell from a song called O Samba do Avião, the airplane samba, written by Tom Jobim, which is a pa da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da. And he taught me the guitar instrumental arrangement for that song. I think that was the first one that he taught me. And I said, man, this is amazing. Yeah. And then another song that was written by a guy who barely could write and read, I think. It's called Sons de Carrilhões, which is a tune that every classical player in the world plays. and it's a Brazilian folk instrumental tune. And it's a very complicated song to play. And when I learned that as well, my technique for both hands to play Brazilian music just went to the sky.
And so the learning of Brazilian music to you was guitar driven?
First, yes. And then when I wanted to understand better the rhythm part, that's when André Nascimento comes, and I started to learn how to play the percussion instruments for the Brazilian music. Pandeiro, and then congas, zabumba. I learned basically everything. And here in my home, I have all the instruments for percussion in my home studio as well.
Is there does the drum set come into Brazilian music, the MPB or the straight samba or bossa nova early on, or is that a later addition to everything?
No, it's the bossa nova had drums already, because jazz drummers became the bossa nova drummers,
right.
And the samba drummers, because in the samba you just had the percussion, but when they had the drum set, the jazz drummers were the ones, because the rock guys could not play those rhythms, but the jazz guys could. So the guys who were playing jazz on clubs and hotels, they moved to play with the bossa nova and samba artists when they started to play with drums.
Yeah, it's interesting how clear that should be, but it's not, right? Like that had to have been the progression, right? Yeah.
And when you hear the early bossa nova drumming, is a lot of brushes, like the jazz brushes.
So can you give us of a bossa nova beat, or is that silly to do on a thing like this?
Chuck, chuck, cut, 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 chuck, 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 cut, 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 chuck, chuck, chuck. And the samba, pop, 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 pop.
Is samba always that fast?
Samba has 11 variants. Okay. So there are 11 kinds of samba. One very slow samba is called samba canção, and then you have the traditional samba, which is pop, 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 cut, 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 from this speed up. And then you have samba enredo, which is the carnival. It's super fast.
Right.
And then you have samba reggae, samba rock, samba funk. You have lots of stuff.
Yeah, and does the king of samba pop exist without my knowing it? Is this a dude who makes $1 trillion a year doing the...
No, in Brazil, nobody made that kind of money with music, I think, in history. Maybe Jobim did close to that, but for the copyright, not by the playing.
Right.
Girl from Ipanema is one of the most recorded songs in the world.
Yeah.
You know, there are thousands and thousands of versions of that song, and everybody have to pay copyrights for the family now.
We hope.
Yeah, we hope.
We hope it makes its way back.
Hope they do.
To the mountainside or whatever you described. Okay, so you get MPB'd and you like it, and in fact, you're good at it, and you're putting the hours in on it. More importantly, to get good at it.
Yeah, because there was a guy. I was playing in a band, and he was the music director of the band. His nickname was Tiragosto, like snack or finger food.
Okay.
Luis Carlos Moraes, his name. So when he left that band, his my English is terrible.
That's all right. So is mine.
What do you say when is the? This is gonna sound ridiculous, but the daughter of your sister or the daughter of your brother?
Niece, nephew.
Niece.
I'm sorry.
You see, so simple.
No, you had it. It was right there.
Yeah. So his niece was studying singing in a very, very big conservatory. She was a great singer. Andrea Moraes, her name. And then he said, that time because he was much older than me, I was on my 20s. He called me Fabinho.
Little Fabinho.
Okay. Yeah, little Fabinho. He said, "Hey Fabinho, I'm doing a band with for my niece, and do you want to play guitar with us?" I said, "What? Yeah. This guy, one of the biggest genius in music that I ever had the chance to play, is asking me, a 20-year-old guitar player, to play with his band, his niece." I said, "Dude, yes, of course." He said, "Okay, I'm gonna send you some songs, some songs to learn, and we can schedule a rehearsal." So when I got to the rehearsal and I heard her voice and the guy playing percussion with us, I said, "Man, what the what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Everybody's a fucking dinosaur in music. They could play any tune in any key, transposing and not making a mistake. And there I was, completely lost in every tune, could not change anything. And then I learned a lot from this guy.
Yeah. He let you stay though, right?
Yeah. So Tiragosto, the nickname. He was, I think, for stage, my biggest master.
Huh. And did you tour? With her?
A little, yeah. We were playing mostly in clubs in São Paulo. With the band that I met him, was a big structure with a bus, on sound engineer, that we toured. The band that I met him, that was a big band, like 3 percussionists, 2 keyboardists, vocals, backing vocals, dancers, guitar, bass. It was really a lot of people.
So how was that? So in your early 20s, to getting on a tour with pros was like, yikes.
Well, it was the same, because when I got in this band that we were touring, every musician there have been to South Korea, China, Japan. And I said, wow. When you see these guys playing, the guy playing percussion, take the guitar, he could play better than me.
Yeah,
so what am I doing here? Yeah. I was just lucky, I was very lucky to meet these people.
Yeah. Okay, so you're in your 20s now. You're playing. Are you in your mind, a professional musician at this point?
Yeah. That when I started to play with this band, I was teaching and playing. I was not doing anything else. Before that, I had a candy shop in a shopping mall.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Is this like a trick name for something else, or did you have a candy shop?
No, I had a candy shop selling ice cream, cakes, and chocolate and candies.
Did you make them?
In a shopping mall. I started with my mom, and then she started to do something else. I started to take care of the business by myself. In some point, I had my bass player working with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, helping me on the high season there when we were very busy, like end of the year, close to Christmas.
What was the name of the shop? Fabinho's?
No name. We just had a counter. it was just a counter in the, but no name necessary, nothing.
Okay, so not.
But if had the name, would be my mom's. Yeah, because she was the one starting.
Right.
The thing, but not my name on it.
Fabinho is pretty cool.
Fabinho's candies.
When we've already learned you're the magic weapon in some other places. So. Okay, so then you go from giving up the part-time gig with your bass player to rocking and playing MBF or MPB and other things. I assume there was a couple of songs you had to play that were from other regions. Hotel California or something.
No, we were just doing Brazilian music.
Okay, good.
Thanks God we didn't have to play Hotel California because I still don't. People ask me, I say sorry, but my religion doesn't let me.
What is your religion?
No, that's just
the religion of rock.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the religion of the guitar players with a sense of humor.
MPB. Religion of MPB. Okay, so you've never played Hotel California. We got to go back and check the audio and video archive. The sneaky materials out there. It's birthday parties, those corporate gigs. Never squeezed out in China. You never squeezed out a Hotel California.
No, a lot of bands play.
I give you 10,000.
No, but that they had the Filipinos to do that.
There he is. There we go. Bringing the voice.
The Filipinos, they saved my life because they could play every song that I didn't want to play. They did it for me.
All right,
saved
Frank
my life.
will play a version of Hotel California right now if you'd like. Could save your life right here, just so we're clear.
No, thanks.
All right. So you're in Sao Paulo and you're teaching and playing, and then you're playing heavy duty, and then you're getting on buses to play, and your mentors are now your idols, and your idols are your mentors, and now you're playing on stage with them, and it's getting confusing. You're like,
yeah, and that's when I have to quit a little bit of the teaching because I didn't have a lot of time, because the band, we were traveling from Thursday to Sunday evening. We were playing 6 gigs a week.
And you drive 8 hours to get there?
No, I had to go by car to meet the singer at her house and then take the bus to go out. So Thursday afternoon, go to her house, take the bus, go to the first gig on Thursday. Then Friday 2 gigs, Saturday 2 gigs, and Sunday 1 gig. Every week 6 gigs with this band.
Wow.
So I just could teach Tuesday and Wednesday because Monday I was dead.
Yeah.
Monday I had no power for anything. After doing 6 gigs in a row, No teaching on Monday. So Tuesday and Wednesday teaching, Thursday, get back to the bus.
And was the bus, as we all imagine them on rock videos now, or was it?
No, it was not with the name of the singer or anything, but was she rented the same bus and the same driver for a company. She said, okay, I want always to have the same driver. Then you can create a relationship with the person and someone that you can trust with all the equipment and trust your life in the road, you know.
Leave your stuff in the
So it was always the same guy driving us around the province, never outside of the São Paulo province, but traveling a lot to play in the small cities,
right?
City anniversary or mayors, blah blah blah, and 10,000 people, 5,000 people in front of the stage. Really cool.
Outside, inside, all sorts of variations, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. So that's school.
Yeah, and playing with the very high-level musicians in that band, that was a big school for me as well.
Yeah, yeah.
The singer was called Vânia Teles.
Yeah,
he's still a very good friend.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Still back in Brazil?
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's still singing because...
Time.
Yeah, time. When I was 20, she was about 30.
Right, and 6 hours.
Let's say...
6 days a week times.
I don't think she's still doing that much. Probably still singing, but not that much.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So then, what direction do we go? So you're doing this. You're making bank. You're there, and at some point you hit the road.
Yeah,
leaving the country.
Hitting the road was I wanted to go somewhere to play Brazilian music because Brazilian music was dead in Brazil. To make a gig in Brazil, to play the music that I like, I had to invite my friends and families to buy tickets.
Yeah, I get that.
To make some money. So I said, this is not working, so I went back to the teaching. After touring with that band, I opened a studio, and then I was working at the studio and teaching music on the side. And then I met this girl, Adriana Brás, that she was coming to China. She had a contract already. Her brother was playing in Urumqi, in Xinjiang province. She said, "Hey, man, are you available for traveling?" I said, "Yeah, but I thought traveling inside the country." So the next day she called me 9 a.m. She said, "Hey, I'm the singer you met yesterday." I said, "Hey, hi." She said, "So do you want to go to China?" I said, "What? No."
Do you have a passport at this point?
No, I never.
Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Do you have ID? You have the essentials.
No, I had an ID, a driver's license, but no passport.
All right.
So she said, "Yeah, no, but yeah, my brother is there. He's super nice." I said, "Okay, this is not a conversation to have by the phone." So I gave her my address. She lived in the same neighborhood. She came to my home in the afternoon. We had some coffee, and then she was explaining. I said, "If I have to answer right now, my answer is no." Because I was planning to go to Europe. I want to study flamenco guitar in Spain, and I didn't want to go to China. My plan was to study flamenco in Spain. And then she said, "Oh, I have some events here in the city. Do you want to play?" I said, "Oh, yeah." So events here, gigs there, in a bar, and restaurant, a birthday, blah, blah, blah. And she was super professional, a great entertainer because she was an actress. So her relationship with the crowd, she could really get the crowd involved to the music.
Is it MPB or is it a mix?
MPB and a little bit of pop as well. Brazilian, all in Portuguese. And then my mind changed because she was a very pro. I said, okay. So 2 months later, she asked me again. So China is calling, man. They wanted to know if I have the trio to go or not. Are you in or not? I said, I'm in.
Wow.
And that was August 2005. And I finally got to go to China in January 2006. That was when I first arrived in China in Dongguan, and then I moved to Guangzhou.
China.
Yeah. And then 1 year and 2 months there.
You went with her and one other player?
André, my teacher, was the percussionist. But things went very different than planned.
Yeah.
So she went first to sing to replace a singer that was finishing the contract in Guangzhou.
At a hotel or where?
No, in a barbecue restaurant.
Nice.
The Latin.
Oh, right.
The
Tell
fake Latina. I told you this already.
Yeah, Latina.
Yeah, so she went to singing one Latin in Guangzhou, and I went to replace the guitar player in Dongguan. 9.5 months later, André comes to China, and we start to play together in Dongguan for a month, and then we move to Guangzhou, and I stayed there for the last 6 months that I had in the south of China.
And so when she was there alone, was she playing with a cassette? Or?
No, she was replacing a singer in a trio, because this restaurant always had a guitar player, a percussionist, and a singer.
Brazilian?
Yeah. So sometimes the guitar player say, I want to renew my contract.
Right.
The percussionist say, I want to renew my contract. The singer say, I want to go back to Brazil.
Right.
So they just have to replace one piece. That's when she came in.
Huh.
And then I went to do the same in Dongguan. The guitar player was moving to another place, and then they said, we need a guitar player here. And that band in Dongguan was the worst, man.
Yeah.
The guy didn't know how to play. The singer didn't know how to sing. Nightmare.
That'll teach you.
A nightmare.
So don't sign up and play bad, or he's going to out you.
Yeah.
And so do you remember packing up and leaving for China? And was that an emotional experience? Or did you
Very scary, actually.
run to the airport and not even say goodbye to your mom?
No, my family, my girlfriend came to the to the airport to say bye, and tears and blah, blah, blah. And first time that I was leaving the country, and the contract was for a year.
Yes.
So it was quite scary because I couldn't speak English, Spanish, or anything. I just had the Portuguese in my pocket.
Excellent.
So I said, what am I going to do there, man? So when I got in China, you feel like you're an alphabet, right? Because you can't read. You like deaf and mute because you can't speak the language. So you can communicate with anyone. Everywhere you go, you're completely lost. You can't. I couldn't even speak English. Yeah. So it was.
Okay, so for the optimistic guy who didn't yell at his parents when they didn't buy the Gibson on time, you go to China, you have no friends. Were you having fun or were you depressed?
Well, I was working with Brazilians, and the restaurant that I was playing, there was lot of Brazilians coming to in the city in Dongguan. There were a lot of Brazilians working on shoes factories. 1,200 Brazilians in town. So every night there was some Brazilian in the restaurant. So that's the friends that I had. Yeah. And that's why I was not speaking English in the beginning, because everybody that I speaks Portuguese. And then I said, I have to get off of this circle. And then a Brazilian girl was in between jobs. She was teaching me English for like 2 months. And when she stopped, she got the new job. She gave me the book and she said, now you watch series and movies and check it with the book.
What'd you watch, Dallas or Starsky and Hutch?
No,
or?
I was watching like How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
I love that show, man. I love that show. I really love that show.
It was good for learning English. Okay, good. I'm not judging How I Met Your Mother. Just funny. Okay, so then you're in China, and are you a good messenger for MPB to the world, or is it turning into something that it's not meant to be?
No, I finally could play everything that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
There was no judgment. Oh, you can't play this.
Right.
You can't play that. There, I could play everything that I want. And of course, the requests from the Brazilians that were there, because they were from South Brazil, different kind of music that I was used to. So sometimes hey, can you play the song, blah, blah, blah? I said, I don't know this song, but let me write down, I will learn. And then for the next week, I learned the song. They come, I recognize the guy who asked the song, I played the guy, oh man, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're there, he's there, it's going to be back. Yeah.
So I started to learn about the music from South Brazil that I was not familiar with. And because of these guys that I met there, I made very good friends in Dongguan, actually.
1,000 shoemakers?
No, actually about 300, 400 working on the factories, but then wives.
Okay.
Kids.
There you go.
Brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Sister-in-law. The whole family come in the package, you know.
Were there Brazilians prone to marry Chinese people when they moved there? Or did you not see a lot of that? Were you not picking things up indirectly?
Well, I have a very easy adaptation to environments. I get used to environments very easy. After 2 weeks, I'm really into the place that I am. But I saw many people there that they had a contract for 2 years and they were counting the minutes to leave the country.
Yeah, understood.
They said, man, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And I think this is everywhere.
Yeah.
First of all, there is no perfect place in the planet. And when you are in a place that there is something that you really don't like, that just get enhanced a lot sometimes, or you can totally ignore.
Yeah.
So depend mostly
Okay.
totally about you.
So I get that. And so did you start eating Chinese food? Did you have places you go to eat?
Well, my tolerance for spice was quite low. So in the beginning, I had some bad surprises.
And were there good Brazilian spots, or was barbecue
Just
Latin?
in South, on this first city that I was living, just this restaurant for Brazilian food. But I was eating at the restaurant every day because I was working there. But I love the Chinese food.
Yeah.
In Tongguan, the Cantonese food, that was very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Seafood especially, I love there.
Yeah. Okay.
Very cool.
Okay. And so do you overstay your gig there and sign on for another one?
Well, I stayed for 1 year and 2 months. I asked my manager to give me a little bit more because it was raining season in Thailand and I wanted to come here for holidays after my contract.
Uh-huh.
So I said, well, can I stay 2 months more and then I go for holidays in Thailand? He said, yeah, sure. So he extended my contract for 2 months. I stayed there 1 year and 2 months, came to Bangkok, went to
Packed
Pattaya.
up everything you owned?
No. I left my big bags there.
Okay.
And then I came here traveling. Then I went back to Guangzhou, took my bags, then went to Beijing, stayed in Beijing for a week, and then from Beijing flew to São Paulo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you're back in Brazil.
Yeah, but I didn't know if I was coming back to China, so that's why I went to Beijing, because I want to see Great Wall, Forbidden City, that kind of.
Oh, so you thought maybe it's over.
Said, it's already closed, you know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come back, but I was not sure that would be the best move. So I said, I want to do something in Brazil. When I went back to Brazil, 1 year and 2 months later, the music was much worse than when I left. I said, I can't do this, man. I can't do this. Playing Pearl Jam and cannot play anything that I like.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Pearl Jam, but this is not what I wanted to play. You know?
Right.
So I was working with some old fellows in Brazil for a while, and then I was in contact with China, and 1 month before the Olympics in Beijing, I was there.
2008.
July 2008 is when I arrived, end of July, or end of June actually, 30th of June. And I stayed until October 30th, 2014.
Oh, that's a haul.
6 years and 4 months, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
All Beijing.
Traveling a lot for work, because in Beijing, foreigner musicians, you get events everywhere.
Yeah.
I play from Shenzhen to Harbin,
And did you
everywhere.
You were able to MPB it mostly, or was it?
That is when my band started to make some name. So I could travel with my band and play the Brazilian funk and the compositions that I was doing at that time. That actually, the 3 last years that I was in Beijing, I could just play original music, man. That was freaking amazing.
Yeah. So
get well paid to play just original music.
What was
in my country? I couldn't do that.
So were you like the girl then? You were Mr. Personality and you were good with the audience? Because that was...
I'm not very good with the audience. I hate the speaking between songs. I'm trying to get better with that, but I like to just play, man. People are there for the music. I will give you good music. I don't want to be making jokes and, how you guys doing tonight?
Right.
Yay! I can't do that.
Right.
I don't, it's not on me.
Okay, if you want to practice when you perform here, you can do that. We'll record a couple of different versions.
I won't be able to do that.
We'll rank them.
I can't.
We can put it out and say, well, you'll do 3 different versions of band interaction. We can rank it. Then you can get some studies, some diagnostic.
I wish I could, but I can't.
All right, so people, are you signing autographs? When you're on the road, are you getting free dinners? Are people buying you drinks? Are people inviting you over?
You be in China, right? You be in China, right?
Yeah.
You know what is to be a foreigner in China.
Right.
With a curly hair.
Right.
People stop me on the street to take pictures.
Yeah, of course. And
even if I'm not playing.
No, I understand.
When I finish to play,
yeah,
it's a line of people to take pictures of me.
Because,
dude, is an alien with curly hair.
Right.
I need a picture with this alien.
Well, I think the understanding there is that when you see the oddity, you take the picture of it. When you see the special thing, you take the picture of it. When because like a lot of what you're walking around is sort of common, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like out of the ordinary snaps you out of the regular walk, right?
Yeah, but we did the whole band of all foreigners. I had in the very beginning of the Mama Funker, I had a Chinese drummer, a bass player from Dominica Island in Caribbean, and a guitar player from Cuba.
Yeah,
so we all look very different from one another. The Dominica guy was a very dark black guy, short, little chubby. The guitar player was not very Spanish face, like a very Latin kind of stereotype. And me with the curly hair, and the Chinese dude with glasses.
Right.
My brother, Wan Panfei.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys
Wan Panfei.
You guys were out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And people liked it. Was there dancing?
Yeah.
That must have been chaos.
Yeah, because we were, the idea was to make party music. You know, so funk to dance. It's not funk to sing together, because we are singing in Portuguese in China.
Yeah.
So it's music to feel and dance.
And so would you have nightclub venues with 1,000 people dancing close and hard, and it was just chaos?
In Beijing, you don't have that kind of club.
Right.
We played in big venues in Beijing, like the Yugong Yishang, Mao Live, and these are places that you can put 500 people inside. So we played sometimes that was full, because they have the festivals like with 3 bands playing one night. That was when we could really pack the place. But just my band playing, let's say we could put 200 people in a club like that.
And would they all dance, or was there some resistance?
I think when we were playing on bars, was easier to get people dancing than in this kind of concert halls, because Yugong Yishang is a concert hall. Even people are standing, but the idea is to listen to the music. But when we were playing on bars, then we get that. The bar that I most like to play in Beijing was called Modernista, which is still there in the Bao Chao Hutong. It's a hutong that comes from Culo Tondadje. And the owner, my great friend Nuria from Spain, from Barcelona, when we were playing there, we blow the place. It was really amazing. A very small bar that you couldn't even open your arms. That was really cool.
And they just danced. Was the dance... Because I'm not sure, it wasn't samba.
No, the dancing funk is just jumping, right? If you don't know how to dance, it's not like dancing salsa. And
which isn't confined to a space.
No, it's just people jumping.
And so did you see moments of liberation during that dancing?
Yeah.
I imagine that's out of the ordinary too, right? I imagine people get fired up and take pictures of that there, right?
But the Modernista is a bar that had lots of foreigners. So it was maybe half.
So it had
50% foreigners, 50% Chinese. And the Chinese going there, they already see foreigners everywhere. So they go because they know the music's going to be different than the Chinese clubs that they go.
Yeah. And so do you think from a soft power point of view, you spread the gospel of samba and bossa nova?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
And I still do here. This for me is a mission.
No doubt
to spread the good music of my country, for me, is a mission.
Right. So I just wondered, because I wondered, in China, they can get lost in the utter novelty of a thing. Like seeing it was enough. Like, oh, I saw this thing I didn't understand. It was awesome when I took a picture with the guy. And wow. And then, okay. And then the next 100 people come, right? Like, okay, so cool. So you decide to come to Thailand because next place to conquer?
Well, I decided to come to Bangkok because the pollution in Beijing was terrible. In 2012, 2013 was really bad. And
I hear they have that under control now.
Yeah. No, I heard it's much better. My friends living there, they said it's much better. But I was losing the sense of smell because of the pollution. And I said, I don't want to get a cancer here.
It wasn't because of the margarita consumption?
I don't like margarita. I don't like tequila at all. I hate tequila.
You drank out of a pitcher the other night.
No, but that is just water. That's no alcohol in it. No, that's just water. Soda with mint leaves.
That was the soda mint leaf water.
Yeah.
You tricked me.
No alcohol.
I can barely
Looks like
walk.
a mojito. Looks like a mojito, but it's not.
All right. It's the mojito water, Frank. Remember that. Order the mojito water next time you're at the Borough.
But
okay.
I
accuse you of nothing.
Coming to Bangkok mainly because of the pollution.
There you go. Well, good move.
And
warmth?
I have been to Bangkok before I moved here twice, and I love the city. I said, this is a place that I can live for a long time. And it's been 8 years now.
So let's just assume the group of folks here that we talked about, the group in China, with the exception of your Chinese band member, but we would include him as well, as musical musically smart folk who understand. Did you gather that you could find that crowd in Bangkok when you're in China? That it was here, or that you could get inserted into it?
The music scene here is very different than Beijing.
Right.
Yeah, especially for alternative places like the Modernista, Temple, Café de la Poste.
I remember the Temple.
Right? These places you could, whatever, if it's a heavy metal band or if it's a gypsy jazz band, they open the stage for you to play.
The Temple opened, that was a high-end restaurant, wasn't it?
No, Temple is a bar still in the Colo Tondaje. And one of the partners was a French guy called Clément. And the guy who opened the bar, the guy with the big money, well, he's a guitar player in a reggae band that travels every year to Canada. Okay. They are big deal in Canada singing Chinese reggae.
Okay. Well,
I think because there are many Chineses in Canada, probably.
Chinese reggae in Canada.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
So this guy, he's a very successful musician, very wealthy guy, and he opened this bar because he said, I want to have a place where people can perform, like a crazy place, black walls, and crazy music.
Okay, different place than what I was thinking. Okay, so you come here and you're not sure.
Well, playing with bands here is much more challenging than playing with bands in Beijing.
Because? Numbers? Straight numbers game?
I think that, for example, getting people to a rehearsal studio here in Bangkok can be a big challenge. To get everybody in a studio to do a rehearsal.
To show up at 2.
And the rehearsal starts at 2, but people come 3:30.
Right.
So it doesn't go anywhere.
Right. It's paid for and over at 3:30.
And in Beijing, man, rehearsal, 1, 2, 3 rehearsals, and then the band is playing.
Yeah.
And here you rehearsal for months. Because everybody's late, nobody's learning the songs. People are learning the songs in the rehearsal. And that's why I'm playing solo.
Okay. All right, so maybe the scene here is different for a variety of reasons. But you came here after China, and you've been playing solo, and so that is sort of the front end of the footprint under your current name. We start to see that online. You start to have some visibility on social media, so that may or may not have been a choice, but that's what I started to see, sort of the Bangkok version. And so then I see the solo act, but you have the guitar holding up. I forgot what the title for that is. Is that the
one-man band quartet?
Yeah, and so this is sort of all of the talking we've done up to this point. Hopefully, leads to this. It's a one-man band, all right? So it's a dude, you sitting down or standing up, making a variety of instrumental noises that are hard to figure out when you're just looking at it where this is all coming from. And so are you playing along with it, or no, that's not what's happening because you're talking and there's rooms. And so you're capable of generating band level music as a solo artist. Where did that come in? Because everything up to this point is just refining the skills, sort of solo guitar dude or solo singer, and this all comes together.
Yeah, I think I always try to challenge myself with doing more that I can. So when I moved to the house that I'm living now, I decided to buy a drum set. I said, I want to understand better rhythm, and that is not listening that can get the muscle memory and understanding the rhythm better than really playing.
Right.
So I bought a drum set, got some snares, nice cymbals, and I started to learn rhythms and practice the rhythms. And then I got very foot control to play the bass drum, the hi-hat. I got very foot control. And then I started to play the guitar with the bass drum and the hi-hat. And I said, okay, but I can't get a bass drum to the gigs.
Right.
Every gig I go with the
right.
bass drum. Yeah. This is not practical.
Not here.
So
for sure,
I found these percussion pads that you can select the sounds. You have a bass drum in a piece of little box like this, and you put your foot on that, and you have a cable that you can control the volume. I said, wow, this is great. I can put this in a pedal board. So I added that first, but always missing the snare sound. So I got the second pad to do the
So bass snare.
bass
In
snare.
an electronic pedal that you put on the floor, or do you hold it in your hands?
No, it's on the floor.
Okay.
So this is what I play with my foot.
Right.
With the hands, my guitar, I found this pedal. It's a Boss pedal called OC3.
OC3 from Boss.
Yes, it's what they call the super octave. So the super octave, what does is there is a polyphonic button that you can select how many notes you want to turn into a bass. So I turn just the 2 top strings of the guitar into a bass until the E flat on the 5th string. So when I play a chord, I have a bass sound on the root, and I have the rest of the guitar sounding like a guitar. So it's a
Up
bass.
to the E flats, up to the 8th fret or the 6th fret, or however you tune it.
fret.
Right. So, that's
So
interesting.
I have a bass and guitar in my hands, percussion on my foot, harmonizer on my vocal effects, and the trombone solo when I'm not singing.
And a hi-hat.
No hi-hat.
I thought I heard
No
one the
hi-hat.
other night. Maybe I was...
No. I had a little tambourine on the back of my left foot.
Oh, there we go.
That gives a little bit of a spark sound there.
I thought maybe I
pitch.
had the lime water like you.
Yeah, no, you had many margaritas that night. I think you were listening much more than the others were.
I know, it's that funny. Lime water. That Tongler lime water. Right. And so you're practicing rhythm. Did you MPB your rhythm, or did you say I'm going to learn
Everything.
AC/DC first?
No, everything. I was playing rock. I read is something that I already could play on drums. Rock and funk I could play decently, but I wanted to learn especially the Brazilian and Latin rhythms. And then I was getting into rhythms from Amazon forest in Brazil, for example, like carimbó, northeast rhythm like forró, baião, stuff that I knew how to play on the guitar, but I didn't know how to play on drums.
So
And
these are not electric instruments, right?
No, this is all percussion.
Right.
But there are now, as the
Right.
samba and bossa nova, there are versions of the rhythms for drums.
Sure.
So I really want to understand that on drums. So I bought the drum set to learn Latin and Brazilian rhythms, not really to play. I do play rock and funk on the drums,
Yeah, I get it.
but I already could do that. So my idea was just getting the drum set to get better at Brazilian and Latin rhythms.
So was there translation issues with the standard drum kit where you needed other things, but they weren't in that drum kit? So to learn the Amazon beats or the other ones, you were sort of replacing them with...
the videos that I was learning from, the guys were playing a normal drum set with no percussion. So it's translating all the percussion session into the drum set. What we do, the hi-hat, what we do, the floor tone,
Right.
and the snare.
That's interesting. So it's sort of transforming it. It's like a transposition, right? It's like
Yeah.
I'll do that all on guitar, or I'll play that all in this drum kit. Yeah, interesting. And so was that going back to school enjoyment, or was it a labor of love, and you had to put in your 500 hours to sort of climb the mountain, and the rock rolled down on you on every third day, and you're like, God, I had it and I lost it. Which version of that is you now?
It's not the going back to school.
Yeah. So you're far enough along that it's just you're going to refine this and you're going to nail this, and then you're 100% proficient, and you can do every song everyone yells out, or if not, you'll bring it back at the next show and you'll have a version that. Yeah, that's interesting. So it's just next. How's the keyboard playing? You do keyboard?
I'm not very good with keys.
Yeah.
I got an accordion a couple of years ago, and I still can play a whole song without doing a mistake.
Yeah.
Keys for me is something that I don't know, but
I figured a portable
doesn't go.
something for you is probably the...
everything with strings. You know, I took the ping guitar that I never played before,
Yeah.
and I could strum and get a little bit of it.
Fortunately, that's the beauty of it, right? It's a quick one.
But
So like that
strings
pickleball.
for me, everything, even Chinese instruments,
Yeah.
I took some to try, and with strings I can play.
Violin?
Strings and frets.
Yeah. Strings or frets.
Yeah, I have a fretless bass that is okay because it's still play with the same technique, but violin with the bow, I think cello, this I never tried.
Yeah.
Never tried.
No, I'm not saying you should or that you're deficient for that. I just was curious because
I'm too old to start learning that as well.
You just did drums. You're not too old.
But I love percussion.
Yeah.
Percussion is really a passion. I was playing congas in a Latin band here in Bangkok, all Thai guys, and I was playing congas and singing salsa, merengue, bachata.
Where were you doing this?
Rembrandt Hotel.
Ah.
When the Mexicano restaurant was in the second floor. I was there. I did that for about 6 months.
Yeah, we eat there all the time. Well, I mean, shout out to Rembrandt, Mexicano. We're big fans of it, obviously, here.
Yeah, and I did the Chiang Mai Jazz de Lana Festival
Okay.
with my Bangkok version of the funk band, let's say. I did a band to play there. And then we did another festival that was with the salsa band in Chiang Mai. We did 2 times, I think, there in Chiang Mai.
I would have
salsa band.
figured you'd have said first and foremost over at the M Quartier in that outside space.
I was playing at the Quartier, the flamenco, for a while.
Right.
Yeah,
Seems to be for you.
From day one, the opening until COVID came, I was playing there weekly.
Right. Were you in a poster with 3 or 4 other faces or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
My poster was in even the elevator.
Yeah, well, you'd see it all over Sukhumvit. It wasn't just there.
Yeah.
Someone was posting them outside there. I'm sure that was entirely legal and you had the permits, but that was...
Yeah, they never asked for permission to put my picture there, but my lawyer
it was
said,
implied.
Forget about it.
Very good. All right. Well, cool. Well, I think we brought you up to date, sort of, here in terms of the history that I like to cover on the Roman Anton podcast. Are there things you wanted to talk about here today about either overt advertising or social media stuff you want to shout out, or are there other topics you'd like to cover?
I think you covered basically everything that is interesting. And as you said, what I'm doing now is the one-man band quartet. This is what I'm really enjoying playing, because playing this set that I play guitar, bass, drums, singing, and trombone solo all at the same time, this is always complicated.
Yeah, it is.
Always a challenge,
I
never get bored doing that.
That's cool. I mean, I walked in and was expecting, we got a Maserati. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? It's outside, right? And the food is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm going to get drunk and I'm going to eat some big, but it was awesome. And are you reaching over to play with your thumb?
No.
Okay.
Because of the classical guitar.
Yeah, I thought, where's it getting that?
I learned it this way. So
right.
Folk players, they put the thumb, like even electric guitar players, they like Jimi Hendrix, they could do a half a bar with his thumb on.
Yeah. So I was just curious about the bass. I thought I heard, that was so weird to hear the bass so pronounced. I was like, how is this happening? And I didn't know that was the pedal dropping it down, an octave, and then...
Yeah, but that place, now they got the new sound system, and I told the owner, with a subwoofer.
Right.
Because otherwise the bass cannot be understood.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, and also the kick sounds like a...
Yeah, it sounds... Outside, it sounds fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And
really
I thought
nice
he's obviously sitting in that corner because it sounds great over here, and it sounds perfect in the rest of the restaurant. So it was a very funny setting because I begrudgingly went out on a Tuesday night. Right, that was good. Okay, well, cool. Well, let's do this. Why don't we take a break here? We'll shut down the Roman Anton podcast with you for step 1, and we will try and set up this room to configure it to make noise that sounds good to you. So that may take a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, good. Appreciate it. Franco, let's shut down step 1.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well done. Good. We're going to do part 2 of the Roman Anton podcast now. We got 3 songs we're going to be hearing. Up next.
Deixe de ser Mixa, deixe de ser Mixa, deixe de ser Michuruca. Deixe de ser Mixa, deixe de ser Mixa, deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser mono, de ser tão monótona. Deixe de ser miche, passe a ser mó. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser mono, de ser tão monótona. Deixe de ser miche, passe a ser mó. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser mono, de ser tão monótona. Deixe de ser miche, passe a ser mó. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca. Deixe de ser pata, seja mais galinha. Deixe de ser miche, passe a ser mó. Deixe de ser miche, deixe de ser micha. Deixe de ser michuruca.
was awesome.
Okay.
Do you have a name for that song?
The song is called Deixe de ser Mixa, which is Stop Being Ordinary.
I just
Song
sing.
2, could you give us another one? You up for another song?
I have two more.
Beautiful.
Não chore mais por mim. É o que me falta ouvir de ti. Não te aproximas mais de mim. Falta me pedir. É chegada minha hora. Sei que não sou bem-vindo, vou me afastar de ti. Vou-me embora, vou agora. Vou procurar por quem me queira bem. Bem aqui. Não choro mais por ti. Terminei a minha busca. Sou bem-vindo aqui. O que sinto hoje não é maior do que tudo que já senti por ti. Tenho de volta tudo que dou sem ter que pedir, pois se tivesse, eu preferia estar junto a ti. Não choro mais por ti. Terminei a minha busca. Sou bem-vindo aqui. O que sinto hoje não é maior do que tudo que já senti por ti. Tenho de volta tudo que dou sem ter que pedir, pois se tivesse, eu preferia estar junto a ti. 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 Eu preferia estar junto a ti.
All right, that was awesome. What are we calling that?
That's the one that you check, that you sent to me in the text today, the Junto a ti.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's like with you, but in a together with you.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And this is a song that I wrote for my ex-girlfriend, Sabrina.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can't you have a song?
I used to write songs for ex-girlfriends
No, you're not.
until they became too many and I couldn't keep track.
So the F G G, what's the F G?
This is a
Nice.
fourth,
Yeah.
like a sus.
So nice. It just is so melancholy.
Yeah.
It's just that right there is, it makes me feel like a Dave Matthews song made me felt in 1995. Just the melancholiness of that, and I don't even know the language you were singing. I didn't even know what the words were, but that, like, with that melody, it's like, oh fuck. Right on.
Yeah, this is one song that I love to perform. This is one of the very few originals that I finished recording.
Yeah.
And the guitars in that song, they are beautiful as well.
Yeah.
I used my very old hollow body made in Brazil, 1976 hollow body.
Nice.
Fantastic guitar called Snake.
That's a great song.
Yeah,
So, I don't even know
the
the
solo
words.
with that guitar sounds unbelievable. It's super nice as well.
Yeah, I could see you alone on a stage and then 1,000-member band backing you up for the sing-along, right?
Yeah.
Well,
This
thanks
is-
for that.
I sent this track, when I finished, I sent this track for her. And I said, oh, this is a song that I wrote for you a long time ago. And she said, okay. After listening, she said, okay. I said, wow.
Thanks, baby. Right. Wait till it's...
Okay, this next one, the last one, is the last song that I wrote. And this has been a couple of years. And is this song that I wrote here in Bangkok.
All right.
And it's really one of my very favorites now as well. I had this dream that I was in Kathmandu in Nepal, and I was in the top of a mountain, and the moon was so close, it's so giant. I said, wow, this is the biggest moon I ever seen. And then I do an analogy. I wrote this song for a girl, and I say, your beauty is bigger than the moon in Kathmandu.
Okay.
And this song is called The Moon in Kathmandu.
All right.
Eu conto até 10 compassos pra esquecer seus passos. Passo do compasso pra te encontrar. Passando com seus passos sobre os meus compassos. passo do compasso pra te acompanhar. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. Eu fico pensando em esquecer você, perdendo o rumo pra encontrar nós dois, jorrando notas sobre toda a sua harmonia. Eu fico pensando em esquecer você, perdendo o rumo pra encontrar nós dois, ejaculando notas sobre sua melodia. Eu conto até 10 compassos pra esquecer seus passos, passo do compasso pra te encontrar, passando com seus passos sobre os meus compassos, passo do compasso pra te acompanhar. Eu conto até 10 compassos pra esquecer seus passos, passo do compasso pra te encontrar, passando com seus passos sobre os meus compassos, passo do compasso pra te acompanhar. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. Pensando em esquecer você, perdendo o rumo pra encontrar nós dois, jorrando notas sobre toda a sua harmonia. Eu fico pensando em esquecer você, perdendo o rumo pra encontrar nós dois, ejaculando notas sobre sua melodia. Eu conto até 10 compassos pra esquecer seus passos, passo do compasso pra te encontrar, passando com seus passos sobre os meus compassos, passo do compasso pra te acompanhar. Eu conto até 10 compassos pra esquecer seus passos, passo do compasso pra te encontrar, passando com seus passos sobre os meus compassos, passo do compasso pra te acompanhar. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. Tua beleza é bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu. sua beleza bem maior que a lua em Kathmandu. Kathmandu, Kathmandu.
Well, so we're back at, what's the name of this place? Do we have a name? Raph, ask her what the name is. What does that mean? Bara Komang. Come over here.
Mala.
Mala Komdang.
Yes.
Is that where we're at, Raph? All right, there it is.
Mala Kondeng.
Mala Komdang. Roman Anton Part 3.
I never knew the name of this place until
There
now.
you go.
And I come here for years.
That's what the star of the Kingphin the Delivery movie is capable. Maybe we could ask him to turn the music down a little bit. Just a little bit. Sorry, so we edit all my parts like that out. Almost 100% response time. Oh, there she goes.
That's a nice t-shirt, isn't it? Look at that.
Minnie
Disney.
Minnie and Goofy? Minnie and someone.
Yeah, the girlfriend of Donald the duck. I don't know her name.
Oh my God. She got beaten wearing that thing. That's not fair. Okay, I think we're good. Back at Roman Anton Podcast 3 part. So how'd you find this place?
I live close by, and riding my bike up and down, I saw the lights. I didn't know it was a barbecue place at all because I can't read Thai.
Right.
So one day I came. I sat here. Nobody came to take my order. I just saw some people coming, taking the plate and going there. I ordered. The first time was quite spicy, and then I had to tell them that my tolerance was not that much.
Right.
And since then, it's always good. Since the second time that I came, never had too much spicy food here.
So if I'm watching this podcast and I try and figure out what that street is to get here, what street is that? Do you know?
This is the Chang Road.
Chang Road.
Chang Road. In Thai, they say Tanon Jan.
Okay.
They say with the jaw Jan, not the CH like Chang. So it's Tanon Jan.
All right, Tanon Jan. You heard it from the man himself.
Tanon Jan.
All right. And it's what part of town?
This is the street that divides Yangnawa and Saton.
Yanawa.
So
Saton.
that side of the road is Saton, this side of the road is Yangnawa.
Yanawa.
Yeah.
And is Yanakart down the street?
Yanakat is the continuation of Chang Road. So when you reach the end of Chang Road, you have left, right, and then that's Yanakat Road.
So that's how you get here. And so
That's
you
how
come
you
here
get
to eat because your house is nearby, like you said.
But not just because it's near, but also because the food is good.
Okay.
But there are many places that are in this street that I don't like the food, so.
And
But
so
the food here is pretty good.
We'll get pictures of this, but they have refrigerators full and you pick your own and then they cook it for you. And this is my first, because I'm from Wisconsin, my first entry was a bread product.
Okay.
Not surprisingly.
This is a spicy bread.
Spicy bread. I've never heard of spicy bread.
No, it's not.
Okay, right. I was going to say you had me at hello.
It's a Chinese bread
It's
style.
even a little buttery.
Yeah, it's a. In China they call
Honeysuckle?
no, it's baozi.
I like the...
This is similar to the baozi is a rounded one, but it's the same kind of taste. I tried this one
Baozi.
already. Baozi.
I like the accent.
But the
Rob.
baozi, when they cook the baozi, they steam. They don't put in the fire directly. It's just the vapor.
So do you think they just put this on the fire?
Here they barbecue everything.
Okay, barbecue.
Yeah, but the Chinese way to cook this is just on the steam.
Like a dumpling.
Yeah. And the little ones like a gyoza, in China they call chaozi because it's breakfast food. So chao means morning. So that's the dumpling for breakfast.
I'm in.
Yeah. And the Chaozi is the breakfast when we were leaving the gigs at 5 a.m. in Beijing, drinking until 5, going home. Told you it was noisy.
And so, you'd eat their breakfast when you're coming home from work.
Well, in
Like
Beijing,
stopping for a Waffle House.
in Beijing, drinking until 5 a.m. in a bar. When you finish, you are going home. You know you're gonna sleep until noon or 2 p.m. So you get a plastic bag with a dozen of pieces of chaozi with the Chinese vinegar. When you get home, you just eat that and go to bed, and you sleep well.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
That's rock and roll life, huh?
And in Beijing, they do the lamb and the pork. Depending of the neighborhood you are, if you're in a Muslim kind of place, they don't do pork, so they do the lamb. And lamb and pork are the best dumplings that you can find in Beijing. Really, really good.
And so, Sao Paulo to China. Had you left Brazil before that?
No, I've been to the border with Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina when I was a kid with my mom. But that doesn't, even in the border, there people were speaking Portuguese with us, so it doesn't feel like you are outside of the country.
Right.
You don't need visa or anything to go to the next city, you know.
And so how about when you got to China? You just mentioned you went to East Mongolia?
In Beijing you have people from everywhere from China, but you don't meet a lot of people from Beijing. And the musicians in Beijing, they are from everywhere, but not from Beijing. Like my drummer was
everywhere
from Inner Mongolia.
Too?
Yeah.
Okay.
My drummer was from Inner Mongolia. My bass player for a while was from Anhui. I had musicians from Shanghai playing with me, from Guangdong province, from Xinjiang, which is the Muslim province. These guys, they play flamenco like crazy. They're very good musicians. But musicians from Beijing, is very, very hard to find people who are born in Beijing. Yeah. Beijing is a place that everybody goes. After they finish their studies, they go to find work.
Yeah.
So musicians from everywhere, and every country as well. Not just from everywhere in China, but everywhere in the world.
You think that's the same with Rio or with Sao Paulo?
Sao Paulo is like that. Sao Paulo, you can find musicians from everywhere in the country because it's the most multicultural city in Brazil is Sao Paulo.
Interesting.
And you find musicians from northeast, from south, from the countryside, everywhere. People go to Sao Paulo to try to play in the big bands and record it for the big labels. You know?
So you said you did the return trip to Sao Paulo after Beijing because you weren't sure.
No, that was before Beijing. Since I got to Beijing, I never been back to Brazil.
So do you have a travel agenda? Well, wait. Let me ask you a better question.
Okay.
Because you want to travel the world with the band and play stadiums, I think. Fair?
I used to dream like that when I was younger.
Okay.
But now what I want to do is try to get this one-man band that I do to play on a big stage in a festival, but not traveling with a band. I want to do what I do
around,
but in a bigger stage.
All right,
you know.
So cheers to that. So you're not sitting here with the master travel plan in your head. You're
no, I used to dream with traveling the world with a big band when I was on my early 20s, but.
Are they mutually exclusive though? I mean, doesn't the one-man band, that's what it says on Instagram, or on the one-man band, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't the one-man band concept, I mean, I could see large venue. I mean, I could see you play, I could see when I saw you play the other night in a very large stage and it would be intimate, right?
Yeah.
Inside 5,000 person house, very easy.
Here in Thailand, every time that I got in a festival, I was playing with a band. I never did what I'm doing now because also this set that I've been doing now is not something that I've been doing since I was in China.
Yeah.
This is something that I started to do.
Yeah, of course.
Here,
all right, I get it.
Here in
Bangkok. You got the board together. You figured out the percussion pieces.
But this is stuff that I've been adding a little bit. First was the kick, then the snare, then I add the bass sound.
Yeah, okay.
So it's little by little. So this, let's say that the full setup that I have now is less than 2 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, and 1 year that was COVID-y.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Yeah, a year that I was just practicing.
Right. You're plugging stuff in
and not
getting
playing,
on your
but
hands
practicing a
and
lot and getting the sound right.
Screwdrivers.
And recording and listening.
You had your tool out, slicing things.
Yeah, cutting people.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm joking part of it, but yeah, I mean, I don't do a lot of time at the coal face figuring the instruments out, but I made sure all of my house stuff was wired the way I wanted it during COVID twice. You know, like maybe it'll be better here. Maybe I can write stuff down easier here, right?
Whoa.
Maybe I can do stuff better here. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Nice.
Look at this, people. Look at this.
The grill, the barbecue. Wrath, what's the name of this place? Okay, does that mean something? What's
The meaning.
Translation. Spicy hot food that will kill you? Okay, so spicy hot. So no one asked.
It means spicy.
It's spicy.
This is the beef one, which is the favorite of many people coming here. This beef is unbelievable.
How are we on 3 already? You don't do ice though, right?
I prefer without it.
Prefer?
I prefer without because it's the ice softens the alcohol.
Right, so you just want
I
maximum
like to
input.
feel the.
But isn't part of the beer thrill the cold?
They used to have those, you know, the red glasses there that keep the beer cold forever.
Yeah.
But I think they want to do this because it looks prettier.
Right, and it does. All right. Look at this guy.
Try this one.
Okra. Right?
Start with the salad. Salad first.
Yeah, it's spicy. They got spice on there.
I don't feel they spicy.
I'm just saying there's a spice component on there, and I'm not saying it's too much. So, Angkor Wat, Myanmar, Yangon.
I've been to Cambodia a couple of times.
For tourism? You bring a guitar?
I didn't because I didn't know any musician there. But then I met this Brazilian drummer there from São Paulo as well.
On Bar Street?
He was playing at the X bar at the Bar Street. And I was in another bar. There was this amazing singer keyboardist. Amazing singer keyboardist from Russia. She was doing on the keyboards right hand piano, left hand bass, and singing. I said, wow, saxophone player, drummer, and her. Just a trio, but she was piano, bass, and singer all in one.
Nice.
When they finished the set, I went to talk with the band. And she said, oh, where are you from? I said, I'm from Brazil. She said, oh, there is a Brazilian guy playing on the next bar here. I said, where? She said, oh, across the street. It's called X Bar. I went up, saw the guy playing. When he finished, I said, are you the Brazilian guy? He said, yeah. And then the girl that was playing the other bar came over because she was his girlfriend.
There's a guy next door.
And then the two bands sat together when we had some drinks. And every time that I go there, I contact him first. And now I have the chance to go to the place that he's playing, jam a little bit with whatever guitar I can get there. And I met one of the biggest hard guys I ever met in my life. I met in Cambodia, American guy called Kingphin. He started a project called the Kids of the Bridge. He opened a bar called the Vagabonds, and he was feeding the kids from around, cooking pasta and some other stuff for the kids living around that didn't have food. He was feeding, let's say, 5 kids in the beginning. When I was there, he was feeding 20. And now he built 2 schools for the kids. And he's still feeding all these kids from the 2 schools. Because his daughter in US, I believe, she did a fundraising on Facebook. And a lot of people liked the cause and put a lot of money on it. So he could really bring the project from helping 20 kids to help hundreds, you know. It's really nice. My friend Kevin, you're gonna watch this. I love you, man. You're a hero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he showed up. Kevin, and he lives where now?
He lives in Siem Reap.
Wow.
After COVID, he said that Siem Reap was pretty dead, so he moved to Phnom Penh for a while.
What do you think?
But I think he's back to Siem Reap now.
Bacon? Tofu?
I didn't order this, so good luck.
All right, I'm going in, folks.
Looks like tofu.
Mushroom?
Good with mushroom.
Spicy.
And you order non-spicy, and this is the non-spiciest.
I understand. Get some of this stuff. Grab a plate.
I've never been to Malaysia. Burma, I don't know if the music scene there is any interesting, but in Malaysia, I know there are a lot of stuff going on, and I've never been there. But I love Cambodia, man. Cambodian people, Cambodian food, amazing. And Angkor Wat, once you set foot in that place, you love it. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I've been there quite a bit. They're sort of temple towns to me. It's Angkor Wat, it's Bagan in Myanmar, Sukhothai here. Sukhothai is worth seeing at night. It's mystical. It's different. So that's interesting. So I mean, the reason I brought up traveling wasn't to say I've traveled more or less than you, or to say why haven't you gone here, but it's such a natural part of all this to think about where am I going to play? Yeah, where am I going to be? Where do I want to play? Where do I want to be? Right? And sort of getting caught up in all that is one thing, but like realizing like this is, you know, I think part 3 of the Roman Anton podcast to me is you've been here a couple times, you know it. It's different. It's out of the ordinary. I'm not saying it's great, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just, and our life overseas takes on so many elements that are so different that I thought, you know, it'd be sort of cool to capture some of these places. I don't know if I designed it so everyone goes out and finds them, but, you know, it's not always just the guidebook, right? Right? So, you know what I mean? Like in Shanghai, you know, or in Beijing, the Temple Bar, right? You want to see music, you go there, probably, right? Wow.
Whoa. Whoa.
Get some plates, dude.
อันนี้อร่อยนะหมูปิ้ง
That looks like something you like. Come on. Raph?
Beef. Do you like beef?
Yeah, he does.
Whoa.
Where's Raph? Oh, broccoli. Raph.
The salad.
The salad, it's laid. Wait. Cut that out. Edit that out.
It's alive.อร่อยนะ
So when you practice, do hours go by?
I don't feel time when I'm playing.
Right. I think that's the better question.
Yeah, when I sit in my studio to record, for example, if I sit in front of my computer 3 p.m., for example, sometimes when I stop, I say, oh, I'm quite hungry, and I look to the clock, it's 11.
Yeah.
and I don't feel these hours passing as if I'm doing anything else, you know. Practicing, let's say the practicing guitar, like I practiced when I was younger, I don't do that anymore.
Right, and I didn't suggest that you should or needed
the
to.
playing, when I take the guitar and I want to, for example, if I'm writing a song or working on an idea, that can take 3-4 hours. That goes like this.
Yeah.
I really enjoy playing everything: percussion, bass, drums, guitar. When I sit to play, I don't count time. I don't say, "Oh, I'm gonna play for 2 hours."
Are your sessions more about moving around the different instruments and getting that recorded properly?
I don't like to record. For example, if I'm working on 4 songs, record the guitar for every song, then record the bass. No, I record the guitar, the bass, the percussion for each song.
Yeah.
Then I jump to the next one.
And what's your writing process like in terms of, is the guitar always in your hand when you're writing? Is that
usually music for me starts with the guitar and the vocals?
Do you have a melody?
The melody usually comes after I strum the chords.
Except for Kathmandu? Because you had your tagline, right?
Yeah, the poetical idea, let's say, came before the song. Because I had the dream.
But you didn't have 3 Kathmandus in a row.
No, I just had the dream with the moon, and in my dream I was in the top of a mountain in Nepal. But when I wrote the song, that came lyrics and melody together. And then I found the chords for what I was singing on the guitar.
What is that first chord you have? It's like a
A minor 7/9.
A minor 7/9. That pinky is so strong. When you hammer that pinky down, it's so. And so 7 hours of playing, I get like you could do that. Like, it's clear you have force behind your instrumentation. That's not forceful.
Yeah, like that became my A minor chord.
Right.
That's the A minor chord that I use for basically everything.
A minor 7/9. Try that at home.
Try
fast, like 12 times, landing. But it's nice. I mean, it really creates a different feel as you move up that chord sequence. It's nice. And so, one sitting, 10 sittings, 100 sittings, and it's still not done. Version 2 is going to be totally different for that song, or how does that work? Do songs change? Do you rock them out at some point?
The Lua in Kathmandu and the Deixe de ser Mixa, and also the Junto, the 3 songs that I played with you today.
Yeah.
Those songs, the structure that I have there, I played, the structure is always the same. And what varies a little bit is the right hand. But the solo that I do on the trombone in the 3 songs, I keep like always the same solo. I don't improvise on those anymore. Those solos, they are already perfect in my point of view. But what I vary a lot is what I do in the percussion on my foot and the right hand. There are tempos that I improvise that a lot.
Why would the solo not change? Is this get back to your harmony? Is training?
No, because I'm not a jazz musician.
Right.
And for example, many songs that I did guitar solos are guitar solos that I memorize and I like to replicate them when I'm playing live. It's like when you see a famous band or you go to see Pink Floyd, for example.
Right, wish you were here.
Don't expect him to improvise over another brick in the wall.
Right.
You want to hear the guy playing exactly the same notes as the album. So I come from this kind of background that you listen the same solo over and over because that solo is already perfect. So I do have songs that I improvise every time that I play, but these 3 songs, the solos, they are there and I never change. But what I do is sometimes after the solo, I do a couple more bars improvising and then keep singing in the song, but not every time. But sometimes I do a longer solo, so I do the solo that I already have, and then I improvise a little bit after that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, though. I mean, your Guns and Metal period, you have the jam capability in you to go off for 20 minutes while I'm fixing my gear in the back, right? It's clearly within your bandwidth, and so it's so funny that you'd say something that you're humming, which arguably could be the easiest jam. You're not going to go back to revisit that because you like the construction of it. Which means you have your Hotel California, and you like the jam in it. It's so interesting, right? Because you're not going to step up to play that, but that same convenience helps you with your song. It's a funny sort of duality, right? Like when you're on your own stuff, like I like the jams I've written. Some are horrible. I mean, technically and they're otherwise, but like I like getting to them when I'm playing live. I like getting to them when I'm playing live in the third hour. Like I'll look forward to that when we get there, but I'm not going to play that now. Like, I don't know if 20 years from now, if I'm alive, but if that would be the same invigoration over a 4-year-old song, but I get what you're saying. I think I get what you're saying. And so I'm trying to find out some common area or at least understand the nature of that. But when I watch the complexity of pretty much all three of the songs just with the positioning, it's hard, it's technical, but I feel like this is the beginning of your boundaries. These songs, like this song could go berserk if fully improvised with the full band, and the one-man band thing has given you the liberty to play alone. But it's an artificial boundary in that if you had unlimited choices to pick the band you wanted, that each one of those songs could have been an hour-long epic journey through the mountains.
Yes, sometimes when I play live and if I take these songs and I choose to improvise after the solo, sometimes one song can take from 10 to 15 minutes, very easy.
Yeah, I just sense that listening, like
very, very easy.
Right.
And I don't really care if people are enjoying or not. I'm just having fun myself, man, right. And that's what matters for me.
Yeah.
I already worry too much about
other things,
making other people happy.
Right. Now on the stage,
it's my turn.
Yeah. So, what was the title translated of the first song?
Deixe, Mixa. The meaning, not word by word, but stop being ordinary.
Stop being ordinary.
No more ordinary being.
Yeti and I just had this discussion today because he went to play a week in Tokyo, and he sent a clip back, or he put it on Instagram, and he's laying on the ground playing with his head to this crowd and his feet, and he's playing a solo, and I said, that's not ordinary. I was like, dude, that was sort of unhooked. Do you remember doing that? He said, I have no recollection of doing that, but I thought it looked like good footage. And I thought, yeah, right, okay. I don't have those moments of where I lose senses of my surroundings and my own play because I don't have that technical dexterity, right? But you and him, I think, have moments, probably prolonged moments, where it can go on for a long time and it will end up in a good spot. It's got to be a challenge. I mean, it's got to be a challenge to have people try and catch up with you. It will happen, folks. Wait for it. Yeah.
Something that I was talking with a friend the other day is I really like to choose places to listen to live music that I know I will get inspired by the performance. I will be surprised and I will get inspired by the performance. But it's not very easy.
It's not easy at all.
Because a lot of people are in that ordinary loop, doing just whatever and not caring about anything. They just want to get gigs, you know, and they are playing whatever, don't matter what.
Well, let's do a true false here. I mean, Charlie McScallywag is one of those guys to me. Have you watched Charlie play?
Oh yeah.
He's plugged into the circuit on Mars, right? He just goes. When I had him on the podcast, they did the song for his dog. It was like, where did that come from? And I've never heard him play it the same since. And I never will. And I love it. Guy's raw energy.
Charlie's a legend in the city, man. He's a dinosaur.
Will Corbin, Bad Dream. Mm-hmm. You're right, one of those. He came and played on the show. He played Gravy Train. What era is he from? Just a monster. But yeah, I hear you. And when you go and you don't get that feedback, you're like,
Yeah, sometimes you go to a place with live music, you stay for a beer and you leave.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's perfectly appropriate. A good friend of mine, Guillaume, here said, I forgot what he called it. He had a name for stopping in for 10 minutes. He said, you can never be ashamed to just stop in for 10 minutes. If you want to leave, you leave. I thought, right, yeah. Right? You can't do that when you're playing. You got to finish your responsibilities, but yeah. Well, that's interesting. So do you have performers here? Have you seen Yamin play? The blues guitarist, Yamin, Y-A-M-I-N? Yamin? Thai guy, tatted, shaves his head?
no.
Blues player?
Oh, I saw an advertising when he was playing Phuket.
He's a monster.
Yeah, I saw an advertising when he was playing Phuket, but I never had the chance to see him here.
It'd be really interesting to see you two guys face off, because that would be formidable.
A great blues player that I met here now lives in Hua Hin is Pat Bluesman.
Saxophone?
That guy, he used to play at saxophone. I think he was still playing there once a week. He comes from Hua Hin to play there.
Yeah.
Great guy and amazing player. Very B.B. King-y style, you know. He's a big fan of B.B. King, so he got that vibrato. Very nice. Very nice. And his voice is very cool as well.
So I can't believe I didn't ask you this. This is such a... I'm learning how to do this. Like, who are your primary Brazilian musical influences? I mean, I know that's a stupid question because you're...
Yeah, when I started to play the classical guitar...
Here we go. Your dad?
I started to learn my dad's songs,
Right.
because he just plays his own songs.
Okay.
So he was teaching me the simple songs that he wrote. And then when we start to play a little bit, and you meet other people who are in your same level, people start to teach you some songs that you like, that you listen in the radio. So for the Brazilian rock in the 80s,
Brazilian rock in the 80s.
yes, there was a band that I was a big fan, and I'm still a big fan of that band. I still listen to that in my house. It's a band called Legião Urbana.
Legião Urbana.
Yeah, like the urban legend.
Right.
And the songwriter in this band, he was one of the best storytellers ever, because he has songs that it's a movie.
So like Bruce Springsteen.
It's a movie. 9 minutes.
Right.
Storytelling without repeating a fucking sentence.
Nice. And
9 minutes.
And he'd crush it.
And he tells the story of a dude. He tells the story of a couple in 6, 7, 8 minutes, you know? And it's just storytelling.
What did he play? Guitar?
Guitar, yeah.
So he was, okay, he's a blues man? Storyteller?
No, like a punk dude, man.
Oh, really?
His influences were The Smiths and The Cure.
That's out of the ordinary.
So he was doing that kind of music, but more acoustic and in Portuguese.
2 stadiums?
Yeah, no, the band was big.
And
the
so
band was
everyone knew
big.
the story and would
The band was
cry at
big.
the right time.
And imagine that they have a band that they have a song that is 9 minutes and 15 seconds long. That when they were playing, the audience was singing the entire song together.
Is there footage of that? Is there a video of that on YouTube?
Oh yes, I can
That's
send you. Yeah. Legião Urbana. The song was called Faroeste Caboclo, and they made a video about this song, a movie.
Yeah.
Recently, they made I watched the video on YouTube. Faroeste Caboclo movie. The story that he tells in the song, they turn into a movie.
Is it hard luck stuff, like when I was thrown in jail, or when I was a prisoner, or when I was a country boy?
No. This is
When I was in
the
love?
Faroeste Caboclo in the song is the story of a boy who had his father shot by a soldier, by a police or army soldier, in a revenge kind of a thing. And then he grew up without his father. And in the song he says that the guy, when he was 13-year-old, he was already teaching people how to have a good sex. He was taking virginity of all the girls around and stealing money from the church.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So that's sort of hardcore.
And this guy, he becomes a... This guy becomes a carpenter, then he becomes a drug dealer, then he go back to be a carpenter because of the woman that he loves.
Is that a Jesus theme?
Well, they call him a saint in the song.
Okay, so
the name of the guy in the song is called, his name is Santo Cristo. João de Santo Cristo. So, Saint Chris John is the name of the guy.
same with, what was the lady of our church that you mentioned?
No, the guy was Santa Ifigenia.
Right,
Santa Ifigenia, yeah.
so I didn't ask you this. Would you mind if I asked your sort of religious background?
Christian, but not really a church person.
When you had 9 classmates, were you going to church every Sunday?
No, never had that.
Yeah, so
My parents, they were in the spiritualist Kardexism, like Allan Kardec. So I grew up with this Christian spiritualist thing going on the family.
do you still does it impact your songs? Is your protagonist in the songs?
I think it does impact the way that I act in my life, because I saw people being possessed by other spirits in front of me, and I think that when you are 7 to 12-year-old, when you see that, it's something that changes the way that you see life. Because there is an afterlife.
You believe that?
Right in front. I saw it.
I mean, I didn't mean to say. And you believe it? So
Yeah, I saw
you're
it.
a believer.
I cannot say that was fake. I saw it.
Does that scare you, or does that give you comfort?
But my grandmother was the lady that was the boss in the church. She takes care of the money of the church.
Oh, I see.
To do all the renovations and blah blah. So the church trusted her to be, let's say, the manager of everything. She was the most Catholic person I ever met in my life. She was the kind of person that if the Pope go to Brazil, that is the hand he should shake. My grandmother, because she was a hero for the community. She was the godmother of so many kids that she couldn't even get track on it, because people admire her so much. When they have a kid, I want you to be the godmother of.
What town was this?
Since I was a kid.
What town was?
No, this is São Paulo.
Oh, so
yeah, in São Paulo.
All right, so this is maybe canonized, right? She may be a saint someday. So do you think that's why you wanted to be an accountant? Did you see her holding the funds of the church in high esteem?
No,
you know what I'm saying? Because you said you went to vocational school to count money, right?
No, I went to the vocational school because I thought, I thought was an option before university to have, let's say, a profession. Then I could do some work to pay for university. But 6 months in the vocational high school, I said, this is not going to go anywhere. If I work on this, I will hate myself.
What do you attribute that to? Your ability as a adolescent to say what's good and bad for you?
Well, my parents never told me what to do. They always said, if you want to do this, go and we will support you.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I can say that I'm not happy right now, you know. I can say that I'm in a good place in my life. Playing music is awesome. I really love it.
No, I'm not trying to phrase the question as a judgment, like you suck or you're good or you're bad. But I just wonder, because I think we're all fighting the same demons, right? And if you have the belief that there is definitely an afterlife, and that doesn't come from a supremely devout family that went to church every week and pounded that into your head. It comes from something else, right? Then it comes from seeing it. And then having models of it, your grandmother, right? Which seems to be pretty legit. I mean, it could come from force feeding, right? Like, yeah. Huh.
But you see, my grandmother was a super Christian, Catholic, apostolic kind of church. She never forced her kids to be from the same religion, to be Christian from the same church. She always said, whatever make you happy, whatever you find peace spiritually, go and do it.
What is your feeling about the traditional Catholic large city church? Do you find comfort in the music that's played in there? Do you like the ceremony around the music that's played there? Have you ever had?
I don't like the fanaticism over religions in any way.
Yeah.
I think when people try to convince you that their religion is the best and you should join them, that's when I stop the conversation right there.
How about the music itself, though? How about, like, do you ever see recitals in the church setting, which is a church? You're going to hear music in a church.
No.
Yeah.
I hate church music in Brazil.
Yeah, okay. Is it Western?
It's terrible.
Is it Western or is it Brazilian?
No,
Is it like bossa nova?
No. They do mostly. No, what I hate is because they do mostly those tonal harmonies, like C, B, A, G, F, E minor, D minor, G7. They do that all over.
All over. 1,000%. That's the hallmark of it.
It's a nightmare because every song is about the same. They never do anything new. It's always about the message that they have in the lyrics, which is God will save you, God my Lord, blah, blah. And I don't really connect with the church music at all. I don't like it.
I somehow have very fond memories of early church music on the organ. I like the organ sound. I like the Hammond organ sound. You know, I like.
No, when you have the pipe organ in a church,
that's what I'm getting at, right?
That can give you chills.
Right,
that's amazing.
We had a pipe organ of sorts in my church growing up. Mrs. Janster, God rest her soul, was the organist.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Bob was playing that kind of organ.
Right.
You have the bass on the
Tarkus pedals.
You play the bass on the
like
foot,
Geddy Lee.
and you have two organs to play, and the pipes that project the volume like crazy.
She had one song she'd play, "Go Forth Among the People," that I thought was straight out rock and roll, and I heard it in the 60s. You know, it was like, yeah, but there's something. So when I went to school, I was overseas. I lived in France. The recital was sort of. You haven't mentioned anything like this, but sort of was like the beginner for classical students. Churches were very willing to have recitals on their gear or in their nave, right?
But this comes from Mozart, from Johann Sebastian Bach.
Right.
They were studying music and they were singing the choir of the church. That's how they learned music, mostly. Playing and being part of the church because the music education was free.
It's funny you say that because podcast number 3 or 4, Cam from Dynamic Studios. If you haven't met him, he's awesome. He runs a studio. He's recorded a lot of people. He talked to me about his recording history studies and his sound design studies, and he will build sound systems in rooms. And he said, back when it was churches, if you were talking, you couldn't reach the back 100 people, so they raised you up. I thought, oh, what a simple acoustic dynamic.
And the acoustic in the church is just amazing.
Right, and he said, well, sometimes it wasn't.
When you listen to a choir inside the church.
Why is it good? Why is that better than the one you just whistled to me?
Well, you have that beautiful natural reverb because of the high ceiling. So it just makes everything very comfy for the ear.
Oh, there we go. So that's what I like.
The reverb makes things sound good.
Reverb.
Yeah. And the church is a natural reverb. When you go to the plugins reverb in a DAW, for example, you have the cathedral. That's how your voice is gonna sound into the church, right?
So what was the name of your first song again? In English?
Deixe, Stop Being Ordinary.
Stop Being Ordinary. Yeah. So I think that the church, the church reverb.
Yeah, the church reverb, the cathedral.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Well, good. Well, hey, thanks for taking this place. We ate everything. The boys ate the rest. We had the name. I forgot it. I've had too much to drink now. Sorry.
Mala something.
There we go. It means spicy.
Mala something. I don't know. Spicy is pet. But if
they
he said Mala is pet, I believe him. I believe him.
But hey, I appreciate meeting you. It's a lot of fun tonight. I hope we can keep in touch.
Pleasure, man. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Thanks.
Really awesome.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Thank you, and thank you.
Bam. Make the sound work.
1, 2, 3, quiet.